Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
And hello and welcome to episode 130 of On the Bench, the podcast for scale modelers, by scale modelers, all about scale models. And hello and welcome to the show, and in the studio I've got Ian.
G'day Dave, g'day Julian, g'day Sam, g'day listeners.
And Julian?
You just you went and said hello to me, and then you had nowhere to go after that, so you had to say hello to everybody.
That's right.
Well, I'm in everybody.
Yeah, we're all here.
Yes.
And, sorry, Julian, go ahead.
Yeah, hi.
And in the studio, special guest joining us this episode, Sam Dwyer.
Good morning, gents. How you going?
Good, mate, yourself?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me again.
That's all right. Of course, we got you in here because this episode is Armour 101. We're talking everything Armour, from the basics right through to the complicated stuff.
The complicated stuff is the fun stuff.
Building, painting,
Always is.
throwing it in the well of tears.
No.
Putting
it back in the cabinet till you find some enthusiasm for it again.
Yep.
So, it's actually been a while since we've had you on the show, mate. So, nearly a year now?
I think so, yeah.
Oh,
Time flies when you're in
does.
lockdown.
So, what you been up to since we last saw you?
Building aircraft.
Oh, great. So, we've got you on for an Armour show and you're building aircraft.
As soon as you asked me to come on, I'm like, man, I'm building aircraft at the moment. I've been building stacks of Armour. I just haven't been finishing any of them. So,
Okay.
Last year, second year of lockdown, which is awesome. It was less productive than the first year of lockdown. So I think I finished 10 models in the first year and only finished 5 in the second year. So still a good year, but so I've been building lots, tons of stuff. Got the shelf queen cabinet full of projects ready to paint. So
That's what we like to hear.
Ian, what you been up to, mate, since last episode?
Got all the main arm done on the Shimakaze, all the photo etch.
Ah, right.
So this weekend I'm starting on the quadruple. They're 5-bay torpedo launchers.
Yep.
There's 3 of them. There's a ton of photo etch going on them as well, because I've got the Infinity photo etch and brass set for it. So there's a ton of work. There's going to be more brass than plastic on this thing by the time it's finished.
And unfortunately for you, MicroMaster don't do Japanese stuff yet.
No. So that's all right. I'll just have to make those little anti-aircraft guns out of brass. Let's see. I purchased. I haven't got it yet. I've found a Netherlands East Indies amphibious tank from the Battle of Java.
Oh,
in
very
1/35th scale. Yeah, I think it's Rich Models make it under the CAMS under the Rich Models licensing.
Yep.
I was hoping to have that in this week, but I think the post is running a bit slow due to COVID. So hopefully we'll get that in by the end of next week. And I purchased some new pipettes because I was running low on pipettes to fill me paint pots.
Yes.
So I only bought a few. I only bought 1,200.
Well, you had to farm some out to...
Oh, you got 200. Julian got
Julian.
100. So that leaves me with 900 pipettes, which should last me a few years, I hope.
I already had a couple of hundred anyway, but it's always good to sort of stock up when that stuff comes in.
And they're so handy when you're putting paint in the airbrush.
Yeah.
No more trying to pour it out of the pot inside the air, because you just end up spilling it all over the place. With a pipette, you can put exactly how much paint you want in the pot.
Greta Thunberg would hate me because I pretty much just use it once and throw it away.
So do I. That's why I bought the cheap Chinese ones.
Just spill it on your desk like everyone else.
I've got a new desk. I don't want to ruin it yet.
Oh, that's true. Oh, you've got like in your paint booth anyway. You've got the little.
I've got the big
lip and everything.
The 30mm lip, so I can spill a ton of paint inside there before
you'll
it
be
leaks
building
out.
up a nice layer of what's that? The Detroit. With all the paint layers, they turn it into like a rock, almost, and polish it up.
About 30 layers of paint before you chip it off.
Julian, what have you been building since the last episode?
Not a lot. I've been doing a lot of other things, but I did find time to mount my rogue type figure to the base that Ian finished off for me.
Oh, yes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then I masked up the base so I can. It's all good to paint, and I just need to get some.
So you painted that figure already?
No, I haven't. I need to get some the metal primer type stuff in because I don't. It's a white metal figure, and I don't.
Yeah, you want to you want to etch prime it.
Yeah, because it's what you know that the moment that thing touches anything, it's gonna like flake off.
Yes.
Otherwise,
yes, definitely.
I don't want to paint things a second
With
time.
the spray primer or the brush on guns or Tamiya?
I might go with
primer?
the little Mr. Metal primer. I've used that before.
Yeah, I
It comes
use
in
that
a
on
little-
me.
Comes in a little rattle can.
Oh, I've got it
Yeah.
in the bottle.
Yeah, I got the bottle
by
too.
brush.
I could brush that on as well, but I don't like the idea of brushing on
Yeah, 'cause
something that's clear and I can't see where I'm
You
going.
don't know how much you've applied. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just keep brushing. You
Yeah,
can't see it.
and with figures, like I want to, I don't want it to like pull in corners and things and reduce like the
Yeah.
detail
Well,
on the
I-
face or anything like that.
But I didn't know they bought it out in the rattle can.
Yeah, it's the smallest rattle can you've ever seen.
Oh, great. So, but it's one application, you got to buy a new one.
No, it's not that bad because it's not like you're hosing this thing down like you would a paint, right? You just need to get enough on there that it's covered.
So I wonder if you can decant that and use it through an airbrush, so you can get a finer.
And then metal.
Because I'm always a
priming
bit
inside
worried
of your
about
airbrush.
using can. I'm always a bit worried about using can paint on models because you can't get like a. to me, you can't get like a fine enough spray.
Well, it depends. I mean, for base coating, I mean, the Chaos Black is
Yeah.
just awesome stuff.
Oh yeah, totally agree.
Oh,
I use that on my
stuff.
bases as well. The
Yeah.
edging of my bases, Chaos Black is fantastic.
yeah.
Beautiful satin finish.
Yeah. It's gorgeous stuff. So, for base stuff, but for your fine work, no. Mind you, there's people out there who probably do it, who work with rattle cans.
Tamiya AS12, their natural metal finish colour is beautiful in the rattle can.
Is it
But,
really?
I know Brett Green decants it into a cup, degasses it. That's it, degas, and then airbrushes it with no problem at all and cleans it up with lacquer thinners, and it's beautiful. But I just use it out of the rattle can because I'm lazy.
I've never decanted anything. I'm too scared to do it
I've done it a few times.
because I
Can explodes in your face or something.
Well, not just, I know that. I'm pretty ham-fisted, so I reckon there'd be bloody spray paint everywhere all over the house. And
Well,
You just put a rag over the top. You just get your bottle, put the nozzle of the spray can into the bottle, put a big rag over the top, and just spray till
a
you got enough.
straw. You cut a straw, apparently.
apparently, so you've never done it, Sam.
I'm just suggesting stuff. Yeah. So you stand on your head in the corner. No, you cut a straw and then you sort of squirt it down the straw, and that way it doesn't spray everywhere and it just drips out of the straw into your cup, and then it decant. And that's you decanting it.
Because
Says the guy that's never done it.
But what I
have done it. I have done that.
Oh, okay.
And it did work.
Yeah,
Oh, right.
but you
Right.
do have. But you can't put a lid on the paint straight away.
No, you got to let it
because
sit for 24 hours.
It's
or
got to
something.
degas because even though you get the paint in there, you still got all the fluorine or whatever they call it they put in there, and that because I made the mistake once of just putting a little stopper lid on top of it, and it just within a few hours I had this pop.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
And it popped the
So
lid
how
off.
do you degas it without the paint drying
Curing,
out?
yeah.
It doesn't.
You can't just let it stand.
Then what do you do?
That's what I did.
Put it in the
right?
fridge.
Because I basically I was outdoors. I did the straw thing.
Sounds like the blind leading the blind. None of us have any idea.
Well,
hang on. So Julian said he's outdoors. He did the straw thing.
Yeah, I did the straw thing into a cup, right? A nice, just a little plastic cup.
Yep.
Right, and I left it there overnight. I thought, no, that'll be good, right? And then when I went to use it, I shook it up, and it still had some like
Gas
in there,
Oh.
and it
Bubbled.
it did the whole like when you shake up a can of Coke kind of thing.
Yeah.
It goes all
Flew
fuzzy.
off my face.
So what are you going to do? You're going to sort of stir it now and again.
Well, I suppose.
You're going to get so much reader mail about this next.
I will. We will.
That's what we want. We want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like it doesn't matter. Like you just as long as it's in a liquid state, you can just put it through your airbrush and spray.
Because I remember I had to do a 56 Chev for a customer, and the colours he just gave me these automated rattle can paints, and I said, I'm not using them on the kit.
Yeah.
So I just sprayed them into bottles, and then let them sit overnight. And first I didn't let it sit overnight because I put the lid on one of them and it popped. But then I made
That's
sure
the question. How did you let it sit overnight, degassing, and it didn't dry out?
because there was enough fluid in there for it not to dry.
Because it's an acrylic.
Yeah, but
Isn't it lacquer?
it's not. It's not
No,
like
well,
it's not like it's a thin layer, Dave.
But-
If it's a thin layer, it's going to dry out pretty quick. But if it's in a bottle and you got like I don't know an inch worth of paint in there, it's going to take a bit longer for that to
It's
dry
like
off.
with when you've got paint in a brush, like the smaller the brush, the hairs on the brush, the quicker it's going to dry
Dry
out.
out.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get that.
But
Yeah.
that's why
It's
you
the
use a
volume.
larger
The
brush.
volume keeps it.
Yeah, when you got enough of volume of it together, only the outside is exposed to air, and that's the only thing that's possibly going to dry.
So I wouldn't do it on a 30-degree day.
No, I definitely didn't. I think it was autumn or winter when I did this.
Yeah, but it's really not that big a deal. You just as long as you got the can. You just spray it into a container and you just leave it for a little while and then you use it. That's it.
The only thing I regularly use in a rattle can is Tamiya grey primer, which all my models get a coat of that before. And I don't decant that. It's straight out of the rattle can.
Yeah, same here.
Standing in the front yard.
Yep.
But the nozzles that Tamiya use lower throughput than your average rattle can off. From
Chaos Black comes out in a hurry, doesn't it?
It does. I think the specific they've done that on purpose, so you have to go and buy a new one every
$36 can of spray paint.
Jeez, they're expensive, man.
Yeah.
Well, anything from Games Workshop is not cheap.
Oh, yeah, I know.
They've worked out how to charge.
Yes.
They have indeed. They have indeed.
Totally agree.
Oh, okay.
So, what about you, Dave? What have you been up to?
Just work, actually. Not a lot. I've been sort of tinkering around with that Canberra that, as Julian put it, sloppy seconds off from you.
Yeah, the one I gave up on, yes.
Yeah, so...
and you can really see where I've started to lose interest.
I can see your frustration points on it. So
I've lost interest in it.
It looks great. I don't know what you guys are on about. It looks really good. It looks like a Canberra. It's great.
Yeah, but wait until you put the optivisors on and have a look at it. And
turn it upside down. Notice I didn't pick it up and look underneath.
Yeah, and there's a particular spot where Ian must have got to and went F you because I'm still trying to sand the damn glue off.
That's the spirit.
The fit on that thing was just atrocious.
Oh, no. Oh, well, it'll look good in the cabinet. It's a 3-foot model, I think.
Yeah.
So it'll look good. And you've done a sterling work, especially that short shot on the flap. How you fixed that? That was awesome.
Yeah, that came up quite well.
Is that what that white plastic was?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
it's good.
It's typical Airfix, you know.
Damn you, Airfix!
You don't need all the kit.
No, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, it's like 5% off.
Yeah. But it was a good score for you because there had plenty of updates in it, like a new cockpit, new wheel wells.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because Ian goes nuts. And I think we said last episode I went over to your place and bought a couple of kits off you that you were about to get rid of and scored big time.
Is it an older Airfix kit?
No, it's fairly recent.
Wow.
Recent,
what's
within the
recent?
next 10, I think within the last 10 years, I think.
Aren't they supposed to be relatively good Airfix stuff?
Well, I've got a couple of their newer kits, which to me look all right. I know the, what was that float plane they did? The British float plane, the Walrus.
Oh, yeah.
That looks quite
looks
nice.
Excellent.
That looks really nice.
They did that English Electric Lightning years ago.
Which is meant to be a really
it's
good
supposed
kit.
to be a ripper.
Yeah, so it's a bit hit and miss.
It's an awesome subject too. Love that thing.
Yeah. But we got some Airfix stuff to talk about when we get to what the Falcon has written in on.
Good.
So, yeah, so we can talk about Airfix in and now. And, oh, God, man, I've got such a love-hate relationship with Airfix. I mean, that's what I first cut my teeth on, what I grew up on. So I've got this... It's like, it's like, you used to have a girlfriend when you're in high school and you see her, 40 years later and you go, well, gee, dodged the bullet there. You know what I mean? That's kind of what it is with Airfix.
Look, they just went in a different direction. Like, they decided, okay, on the whole quality spectrum of, like, high to low, we're just going to go middle-low.
Look, I do love Airfix, but I hate the fact that they're putting out crap stuff from time to time. And they're putting out some good stuff as well, but it's not... It's the lack of consistency that drives me nuts.
Well, I think that they're actually somewhat consistent. But the thing is...
Consistently inconsistent?
Well, no. So the thing is, like, I just lost my train of thought because I had to clarify that.
Well, I'll just say this before I get hate mail again, because every time I talk about Airfix, people go, oh, you don't like Airfix, you're always bagging it. Well, I'm not...
You elitist, you.
I'm not an elitist. What I'm saying is I do love Airfix, and I'm really keen to buy some of their new stuff that's coming out, and we'll talk about that later on, what the new stuff is. But it's just the inconsistency, and I hate putting money down and getting an inferior product for the money I've spent.
One day someone's going to make a meme about that.
Well,
because you seem to say that every episode.
Come on, man. You go to McDonald's, and if you ask for a hamburger without a pickle and you get it with a pickle, you take it back. And that's a $2 hamburger, for goodness sakes. And yet you're happy to go and buy a $50 model and put up with accuracies or fit issues.
Or short shots.
Hello? What? Exactly right, man. Come on.
Kits, yeah.
Look, I mean, so let me just see if I can collect my thoughts here. Like, it's not like Airfix are the worst.
Oh,
right?
no.
They're, like, Special Hobby, if you've ever built Special Hobby kits, they're really...
They're a challenge.
that's putting it mildly. They have a lot of problems, and they're not what most people would consider a decent kit. Like, by any stretch of the imagination. Like, Airfix are decent at the low end of decent.
Well, you just built
decent.
the Hurricane. You just built the Hurricane.
Yes,
It's came out really
but I mean,
nice.
like, you know, when you pick up any FX kit, all the panel lines are straight. I can tell you that much. On Special Hobby, they're not so straight, right? That's the problem. But I think FX have gotten by on like a higher reputation than they deserve.
Because everybody grew up with them.
And
that's why.
nostalgia.
Yeah,
nostalgia.
100%.
Nostalgia's a hell of a drug.
Well, I've got an Airfix kit that I'm basically keeping for nostalgia. I'm not touching it till, for another 4 years. In 4 years' time, it'll be 50 years since I first started the hobby, and I've got the kit my first ever kit that I built.
I saw that, the 1/700
scale.
1/600
scale,
yeah.
British Destroyer, I think it was the Cruiser or something, the Exeter or something like that, yeah. I can't remember, I'll have to have a look at the box, but...
I didn't come on the show this to talk about Airfix, so let's dump that one.
Fine.
Let's have a quick word from our sponsors. The Scale Model Supply. Certified Australian made, the Scale Model Supply has a comprehensive range of premium acrylic lacquer paints that have been specifically developed to cater to the scale modeler. Designed to use straight from the bottle, SMS paints have taken all the guesswork out of airbrushing. Simply shake, pour and spray for a fast drying and extremely durable result. But wait, there's more. SMS have just released the new water-based range, Infinite Colour. It is the ideal paint for anyone who is into miniature painting. And with 48 colours that can be mixed to create any colour you want, the possibilities are, well, infinite. The ever-growing range of SMS paints will suit all types of model builders, be it military, aircraft, train, car, science fiction, or even Gunpla. SMS paints will have a colour to suit you. Available now through selected stockists worldwide and online at www.scalemodeler.com.au. Hey, and we're back, and you're still listening to On the Bench, and we're going to dive straight into some listener mail. First one, we got an email from Brad Blelsham. I haven't listened to every episode, but you have done have you done an episode on airbrush maintenance, booths, compressor versus tanks, etc.? If so, which episode was it? Always loved the show. And here's my latest build, which is a T34.
Stunning
Very
looking
nice.
build.
Yeah,
Done a
stunning
good job on
build.
that.
Now, we haven't done... I'm trying to think, have we done an episode on airbrush maintenance?
Well, we've
and
been in this for a
compressors?
while, so probably. But I can't tell you which episode it is because I don't even listen to the...
I don't think... Yeah, I think we have discussed airbrush maintenance, but we haven't really gone into air compressor maintenance.
Well, we could talk about that maybe next episode.
You're meant to maintain them?
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently there's
Yeah,
a
you know,
plug you gotta pull.
there's a bleeder valve at the bottom of the tank. You should really...
And some of them have an oil reservoir you've
Yeah.
got to fill up as well.
Yeah.
So if you don't... If your airbrush compressor has a tank, you should open the valve on the bottom. once in a
Outside,
while.
don't do it inside.
Yes, because especially if it's under pressure, because...
Well, that's the best way of doing it.
yes.
Because that blows all that, because you always find it's got that mixture of oil and water in there, and it just get that white creamy stuff that just splurts, and when it comes out, it makes a mess.
Yes, and basically moisture builds up in there.
Correct.
And if you haven't done that in quite some time, you may find you've got a lot more water in there sloshing around than
Yeah,
you thought you did.
which means you're not getting full optimization of your tank,
Yes.
which means your compressor is going to be running a lot more, which means you're going to be wearing your bearings out and your piston rings if you're running off a piston.
Right. So are we getting into airbrushes and compressors?
Well,
right
that was
now,
a quick one. I think we might have a
It's a good one. I think we need to have a proper one.
proper
Yeah.
one maybe next episode. We might have a big chat about that.
Sure.
Next email comes from Brandon Walters, who writes, "Hey Benchers, Happy New Year. Just wanted to throw my 2 cents, which equates to 2.2 cents Australian,
Correct.
to the discussion on considering the kit itself when judging. It sounds like a judge's nightmare. The judge needs to know the quality of every kit from the last 70 years that they are expected to judge. That's a mighty big ask when judges are already in short supply. And that's from Brandon from Guelph in Canada. Where's Guelph in Canada?
Dave, say Guelph. Guelph.
Well, you might think that that's a bit of a reach to expect the judges to know every kid of the last 7 years, but
that's exactly what he's saying.
But at the same time, they kind of do. I already do, at least for most aircraft in 48 scale and a lot of Armour in 35th scale. You just end up with that kind of knowledge.
But that's it. Or you go, hey, he's built an Airfix Blenheim. Airfix. You know, and so you instantly, your mind just goes, okay,
Yes.
well, I know that that's a troublesome kit or a great kit or whatever it might be, and then you account accordingly. I've noticed lots of judging, and I know other podcast guys have talked about judging ad nauseum. And
We've all spoken about it ad nauseum because it's one of those things that keeps coming up again and again.
But lots of overseas competitions, there's no references put down with kits. So the person who's entering the model can't justify the work that's been done. They assume that the judges know everything, which is that feels like that's a gap to me. You know, whereas the comps we have here at Model Expo, for example, you put your reference in, and even if it's just the kit instructions or it's chapter and verse about what you've done, you're going to assume that the judge knows nothing, and you're going to prove to them what you've done.
Yes.
And so then they know you're educating the judge. Maybe that's the way.
Some people go a bit overkill with their
Do you remember
reference.
that guy
I
once who did a model, and he also made a coffee table book? He printed his own book.
He did a
hardcover
1/16 scale Yuck Tiger.
Was it you?
That was you, yeah.
That was you.
That was me.
Yeah, that was,
It really was you.
That was me.
I'm pretty sure we spoke about this last time he was here, and you've just forgotten.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Sam from the last episode. Yeah, so that was just, I did that through my Mac, because you can do that through Apple, and it was just a quickie, because I was already working on the book to publish through AFE Modeler. So,
Right.
So yeah, I just thought, you know what, rather than, because there's a ton of work in that thing,
I noticed.
so I thought, you know what, just have it in front of the kit on the table so people could leaf through it and see it.
Can I just say you're a dill, Dave?
Me?
You know, the surprising thing was the book was still there at the end of the show.
Yeah, no,
That's quite funny.
You going?
Yeah, like I think with judging, it's like no matter whether you're going with the IPMS system or the AMPS system, right? It doesn't matter what system you invent, you're only ever going to get 60% of things right. 60% of the people are going to be happy, right? There's always going to be unsatisfied parties who wish it was more tailored to their style of modelling.
even gold, silver, bronze, and the way that it's done in Europe.
In
you're
amp
still
style.
you're still going to get people that aren't happy with
Yeah.
the outcome. You know, when any model's being judged, people are going to be happy, people are not going to be happy. So
That's it.
what do you do?
You can't win it all the time.
That's right. You can't win Touch Lotto every week, so, you know, you've got to go with that mentality.
That's it.
This one's for you, I think, Ian. You need to read this one.
No, you can read it. I can't see it.
Oh, okay. Just let me figure out how to pronounce that second name. So it's Daniel Chisino?
Tercino.
Yeah, that's it. Daniel writes in, "Good morning, fellas. Loving the podcast. I started from episode 120. I recently got into scale models and miniatures. My first model was a Tamiya King Tiger with the Porsche turret, as I love World War II history. I'm also building Tamiya's M1A2 Abrams, which I've put on hold at the moment. I've got myself into a pickle starting Warhammer Tau armies. It's a trap! I met Ian the other week in our local hobby store, helping me pick the colour scheme for my Tau army due to being a bit colourblind. Shout out to Dennis from Hobbyman Narry Warren.
Great
Also, thinking about joining a hobby club thanks to Ian. Hopefully we'll meet Dave and Julie in the future. Keep up the amazing work. Now, this was a real, and I'll let you explain, Ian, it was a real serendipitous moment, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was at the hobby man there at Fountain Gate and just having a look in the paint section, and Daniel rolls up and he's talking to Dennis, one of the employees there, and he's talking about different paint colours and so forth, and Dennis like not really sure where to go with it, looks me in the eye, so I thought I'll step in and put my 2 cents worth, and had a chat with young Daniel and set him onto some colours, which I thought would look quite nice on that particular Warhammer style army. Being an alien army, you can go crazy colours.
I thought Tau was all white.
No,
okay.
no, he's doing his purpley blue and orange.
Oh, that sounds cool.
It does. He showed me a few photos of some of the stuff he's done, and it does look really nice. And young fella on a bit of a tight budget, and as you know, I'm trying to clean out a lot of my old stash, and I just mentioned to him, I said, look, I've got a huge collection of towel stuff I'll never ever build. Like, we're talking probably $500 worth of towel stuff. I said, look, I'll sell it to you for hardly anything. And like, I'm taking a massive bath, but I'm getting rid of it.
More space.
And I know it's going to someone who's really into it, enjoying the hobby, so I don't mind if I'm taking a bath on the price. And say every week he pops around with a bit of cash, buys something off it, and off he goes.
Oh, that's terrific.
And then we're just talking about, because he's into the modelling and so forth, and he's, as you said, new into the hobby. And I said, well, suggest you might join the club, and mentioned the club we're in, and he seems pretty keen about it. So
that's cool. Speaking of the club, something happened. There was an election, wasn't there?
There was. We now have a new glorious leader.
All stand and rise.
Nah, bugger that.
Didn't we already mention this?
No, we didn't.
Dave is the new president of DSMC.
Right. Yeah, he is that.
And I'm the lackey.
Which
You're
you're
the
the
vice president.
That's right.
My job is making sure we got lollies and
So
dickies.
DSMC is our local model club.
I didn't realise there was one out here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sam,
Did you think that we wouldn't be in a model club?
you should join Sam. It's a great bunch of guys.
Should I?
Yeah, definitely. You'll fit right. You'll fit right
He'll
in.
be
You'll
perfect
fit right in.
Absolutely.
We've got a really good group. None of us are concerned with politics. In fact, we almost have to there have been times when we've elected people as president while they're not present in the meeting.
Oh, excellent. That's the best time to elect someone.
Yeah, because then they can't go, no, I don't want to do it.
Best time to do it.
Yeah, because no one wants to take it, and it's not like there's a whole lot of work. To be honest, the president actually doesn't get that much work.
He just has to make sure he sends an email once every 2 weeks.
That's pretty much it. And we've got a really good group of people. I mean, like many of them have been on this podcast. You know, we've got people who are specialised in figures only, people who specialise in certain scales, certain aircraft, certain eras, blah blah blah.
I'm a member of the IPMS here in Melbourne, but obviously you don't go to meetings because of COVID. But they're now Zoom meetings, and that's good because I can ignore those.
And our meetings aren't like meetings.
No.
It's just basically a bunch of guys get together and we just talk, and that's it. We don't have
fun.
minutes.
Share models and actually have build nights there as well.
Yeah. Very laid back, just like this show.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So Ian's the vice president. He's only there because he's waiting for the assassin's bullet, so he can take over the presidency.
Famous last words. I don't want the president. I've passed the presidency so many times.
Oh no, it's all good.
Yeah,
Anyway, how do we get sidetracked like that?
I don't know. This is
Talking about model clubs.
This is on the bench, is it not?
It is.
Yes.
All right, next email comes from Simon McCoy. And he writes in, Dave, Ian and Julian, I've been following you guys for a while now. I joined at about episode 50 and love your work.
Thank you.
I've been interested in the recent discussions regarding the standard of older models and whether we should be bothering to build them. I completely agree that newer models are just so much better than the old. However, sometimes the old model is all you have to work with.
Exactly.
I'm trying to model every RAAF aircraft used in the Pacific Theatre in World War II in 1/72nd scale. Generally, I've been able to get hold of models in a pretty good standard, but in some cases I've had to fall upon old kits just to fill the gaps, and here are a few following examples. The RAAF actually operated Dornier DO-24s, 6 of them. The only option I know of is the very old Italeri kit, which requires a great deal of patience. Then there is a Dragon Rapid. The only option I know is the Tasman Models kit, which is the old Heller kit. And if you want to do a Volti Vengeance in 1/72nd scale, the only one that I know of is the old Special Hobby one or the Revell Frog kits.
Yes.
Sometimes when you're trying to complete a set of models, you just have to make do with what is available and hope that in the future somebody will decide to put out a new, more up-to-date kit. I also have a question as to how you guys keep a record of your stash. Do you use some sort of spreadsheet? And if so, could you please share? Take care of yourselves, Simon McCoy.
Well, I use Excel. And I have an Excel spreadsheet, which I have kits by like subjects like aircraft, then by scale. I have what markings I'm planning on doing. And then I also have what update sets I have in there.
That's outstanding.
Because there is nothing worse than going to a hobby show and going, oh, that's a nice detail set, I'll buy that, and then coming home and putting in the box and going, I've already got that.
Well, see, the thing is,
Thus, I've got so much extra details for my 148 scale Liberator. So if anyone wants some extra stuff for a Liberator, I've got wheels, cockpit, I've got heaps of stuff for it.
Well,
because I forgot I bought them.
you bought a new phone recently, and there's no reason why you can't upload that spreadsheet onto
Ooh,
Yeah.
onto
Yeah,
there,
take it to
and
shows.
then you can look it up whenever you're in an actual hobby shop.
that's a good idea, Julian. Good thinking.
Because it's no good to you at home
Good thinking.
if you're standing there in the hobby shop with your wallet in hand.
Well, you, Sam.
I work in data every day, and I have nightmares about Excel. So, but as soon as you said, I keep an Excel spreadsheet, I'm like, that's great. I have a rough idea. I don't nothing organised at all. I got a cabinet that sits right next to me that I can see, but don't record my stash at all. I don't have a huge stash, kind of, but I got a fair idea of what I've got and what I want to get, and I'll probably going to touch on that later on when we talk about building Armour stuff. But I don't record anything at all. But I note in the email that he's touched on all the shocking brands, Frog Revel and Special Hobby and all the Larry, all the horror shows.
That's all you can do if you're trying to do what he's doing and build, a certain sort of theme. You ain't got a choice sometimes.
Well, that's right.
No.
I've fallen in that trap so many times.
Badge of honour though, if you can get a good kit.
Yeah.
Good model done out of an old dog, it's awesome.
Yeah. Or you put it to the back of all the other ones.
Hide it behind all
Well, the good thing about it is those sort of old kits help improve your skills too, because they push you into boundaries you normally wouldn't go into.
Yeah, 100%. Cool. All right, next email comes from Shane Hibbard from sunny Perth, Western Australia. They've been going through a huge heat wave.
They have, yeah.
Well, I think they're up to about day 5 of in excess of 40 degrees
every day.
And yet, it's funny, all our friends and listeners in mainland or the US and Canada, they've been going through the opposite.
Super cold spells.
Anyway, Shane writes in regards to everybody's growing stash and the problems that causes. Doesn't cause any problems. Have you considered condensing the kits down by despruing as much as possible, getting rid of plastic bags and condensating the volume of any particular kit down by sometimes more than 50 or 60 or 70%? Then you can perhaps put 2 or perhaps 4 separate kits in one box.
No.
Ah, what?
No, I haven't, no.
This is best done to kits you are sure you will not want to sell one day in the future. It's not a good idea for all kits. Best think of it through first on a kit-by-kit basis.
So, I've seen kits sold in the Swap and Sell at Model Expo, and they'll be in a bag.
Yep.
Avoid.
Well, I wouldn't look at it, but I know some people are real bargain goers, and they'll go in for that sort of thing, Yep. They do sell. And sometimes, people will lose the box if they get like a flooded thing going on, and they lose the decals, they lose the instructions.
Yep.
All that's left is the plastic, right?
Yep.
These things happen.
I put all my aftermarket in the box. If I got like a Tamiya Panther, for example, open the box, you pick the box up, it's suspiciously heavy, and there's a set of full track in there, and there's barrel and etch and whatever. So, but I wouldn't combine multiples of Tamiya Panthers.
That sounds like
box.
an organizational nightmare.
I get where he's coming from.
Me too.
And if you have like 4 kits of the same kit, then why not? Perhaps if you got space issues, why not then condense?
Well, I did that recently, actually. Funny you should say, because I bought the Edward twin boxing of the P51, and I went Harvey's with a guy in our club, and then once I got it and had a look at the decal options, I bought another one. So I had an extra sprue because I said to him, look, you can take the box, you can take the instructions, and you can take the decals.
Yeah,
I'll just take one set of decals for the stenciling.
So you've got 3 Phantoms and 3 Mustangs in a box somewhere.
No, because I ended up building one.
All right.
But at one time I had 3 Mustang kits in the dual combo box.
It's nice if the box is big enough.
As long as the box is big enough, But otherwise, I'd be more worried about especially clear sprues. Because we know how easy
loading it into the box and just jamming it.
Yeah, but with the loose package stuff, just scratching or cracking your clear sprues.
And then you got to put it back in the stash where it sits under 3 other kits.
Yeah, and you always that nightmare of when you get a Dragon kit and you take everything out of the box and then you try and fit it all back in.
You cut the plastic and the box lid goes and raises up. I'm never getting that back in the box.
Exactly. You can never get the Dragon sprues back in the box as soon as you open it. It's impossible.
What is it with Dragon? That seems to be the worst one of the lot.
Hey, you need a part of one sprue, they give you the whole sprue.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, Shermans are fantastic. Like, they're great for the spares box.
Yes.
You'll get a Sherman
Funny
kit
about that,
and
I
you get
threw-
2 or 3 parts and the rest for the spares box.
I got rid of my spares box. All went in the recycling. I
Yes.
just
Join my side, the no spares box side.
I had stuff in there I've had for like 20 odd years plus, and I was like, I'm never going to use this. It's just taking up space.
Shane, some great ideas there, mate. Get yourself another room or to put your stash in rather than having to do that. That's too much work. Too
It's
risky.
up to him.
Thanks for writing in. Really appreciate it. Now, next one. Tom Mule. Or Maul, I should say. Dear glue sniffers. Recently, while building shelving to hold my stash of nearly 50 unbuilt kits, my wife came along and casually asked me which kit would be the one I'd save if a fire forced me to choose one.
Ooh.
Recognising the pained and troubled expression on my face as I struggled to choose just one, she relaxed her one and only kit scenario and modified it to which 3 kits I would save from the impending conflagration. After careful consideration, these are the 3 that I would save. A Hasegawa 1/8 Forker DR1,
Yes.
a Tamiya 1/16 Tiger 2 Porsche turret, and a Tamiya 1/12 McLaren MP4/6 F1. This leads me to pose the same question to the 3 of you. Which 3 unbuilt kits from your stash and why would you choose to save it from the impending doom? I look forward to every episode and thank you sincerely for all the podcasts you've produced to us grateful listeners. That's from Tom in Sweden. And lastly, I've also used Zero Paints to great success, no melted plastic at all. Please ask Julian if he's used Zero Paints primer as recommended first, or did you just use a different brand of primer? My gut tells me that you probably didn't use Zero Paints and that was the source of his problems.
No, I haven't used their primer. I did, however, watch a group of 3 modelers all go in heavily on the Zero Paints, including the primer, and it ended up cracking, and they had to strip it all off, all 3 of them.
Well, cracking, that's due to one coat not being dry enough, probably the bottom coat not being dry
Like
enough.
it was I believe it was a white primer.
Yeah, I'd say the white primer wouldn't have gassed off enough.
But you'd think that'd all
before-
be compatible. If it's Zero primer, Zero paints, that'd all be compatible and there'd be a bit of a margin.
They didn't even, I don't think they even got to the painting. They actually it was just the primer on it, and it started cracking and flaking off on its own.
Wow. Did they wash the parts first?
Who washes parts
remember.
these days,
It was
man?
quite a
I
long,
know who does.
Nobody
but-
does that, man.
it was quite a long time ago, and I'm not sure if that made a difference because they I think they had a few goes at it and blah blah blah.
Yep.
I did wash paints once, and Michelle looked at me as if I'd been touched. So I've
Parts,
never done
you
it a
mean?
cent. Yeah, that's what I said.
Paints.
Oh, parts. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody's
So,
ringing in to do it.
All right, Dave. We'll
Yeah,
start.
just
We'll start
my
with
alarm.
you, Dave. What
Oh.
3 kits?
What 3 kits? Now, the kits that I would have to save, the ones that are the hardest to get, or I struggled to get with. So that would be the Australian AFV M113 upgraded one. I just can't think of the damn name of it.
M1301 with the Cadillac gauge turret.
Yes. And it's got the additional flotation things on the side.
Oh, the MRV with the Scorpion turret.
Yes, the Scorpion turret.
Yeah.
Man, that's hard to find.
Yep.
So I'd grab that one, and probably my 1/72nd scale Apollo.
And there's a 3rd kit.
A 3rd kit. Yeah, I'd just close my eyes and pick one. Oh no! Wait! It would be the Wings Albatross I got in there. I'd grab that one, not because I want to build it, but because I
worth a ton.
could sell it and start rebuilding the stash again. What are you, Julian?
I can't even think of one. I can't even think of one because to be honest, what do you prioritize? Do you prioritize rarity? Or do you prioritise how much money you've spent in
And
it?
don't forget, you've got a conflagration, so you ain't got a long time to think. You got the fire burning; it's licking at the door.
Just licking at the door.
What are you going to do? The flames are starting to wick up the walls now.
Honestly,
The clock's ticking.
I don't know. I probably wouldn't take any of the kits. I'd probably just take the tools.
Oh, that's a good thought. Okay.
You know? I mean, my airbrush is worth more than, like, a handful, like a whole stack of kits, right?
Interesting you should mention that. My airbrush collection would be worth a fair bit more than a lot of my kits too.
So what would you run and grab?
I'm a Yorktown for starters.
Yep.
Definitely the Yorktown.
Yep.
The Felixstowe for the same reason, because I could sell the Felixstowe and get some money back. But then again, all my kits are insured anyway. I was smart enough to get big insurance on my kits.
So all your kits are insured?
Yeah, all under my house and contents insurance.
Seriously?
Yep.
Was it hard to do that?
No. Just got to make it in the clause.
So what did you say, model kits for lonely weirdo who lives by himself?
I said
Collectibles.
$30,000 worth of model kits.
Yeah, just up the contents insurance.
Yeah.
They want,
No, you don't have to specify.
Yeah?
You don't have to you don't have to detail each kit.
No.
It's like if you've got a huge CD collection. I mean,
Yeah.
Who does now? But you could in the past you could specify it's $10,000 worth of records or CDs or whatever, and that just goes in. It adds to the cost of your content. Sorry, I work in insurance, man. It adds to the cost of your contents insurance.
My insurance is due next month. I have to wait and
look
talk
into
to
it.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, so the Felixstowe. Oh, I'm trying to think.
See, it's easy for you because you've actually got some really big dollar kits in there. I don't. Like, probably the most I've got is like.
The other one, the third one, I'd probably grab with me rare as hen's teeth, me Gun Sangyo 124 scale Shelby Daytona Coupe.
Okay.
Yeah, the
thing that'll really make Dave cry is that the one kit that'd be sitting in there would be just bubbling away. That resin Wix class destroyer.
It doesn't matter because remember, there's another company making it in styrene now. So
yes.
So like some of them, like the kits, the rarest kits in my collection are not that rare. You know, they're not out of production. And even if they are, right, there's still enough of them floating around, especially in Japan. I could get them if I wanted to. And nothing is worth more than, say, $200 really in my collection.
Lightweight.
What about you, Sam?
Yeah, I'm with Julian. I don't have lots of rarities. I've got lots of kits that have got lots of aftermarket in them, but it's all still available.
Yeah.
So I'll just claim on insurance and rebuild.
Yeah, I mean, like, so
I'd grab books maybe. But
books
maybe instead.
Actually, I've got some books, and they're particularly rare.
Same here.
I've got Jewel and the Mist Volume 1, which is Battle of the Bulge through a town. It's a very specific part of the battle. It was through a town called Sturmont, and the book is out of print and will never be printed again because of reasons. And it goes for $1,000 US all day on Amazon if you can find them.
Damn, I just forgot I got my library I need to get insured as well.
I probably would grab Jewel and the Mist Volume 1.
Yeah, well, I've got that really, really rare as hen's teeth Essex class aircraft carrier book.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It's got all CAD drawings and all sorts of stuff, photos and all sorts of stuff. I've got the JG 300 book collection, which is worth $1,000 as it is for 2 books. Then I've got me Panzerjäger book collection, which you know about that book collection. Try to get your hands on that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
For under $500. And it just goes.
So, like, getting back to this listener who wrote into us, 2 out of the 3 kits that he picked are Tamiya kits.
Yep.
And I would say that no matter how, like, uncommon they are to find, they're still Tamiya kits.
Them. The Hasegawa DR1, absolutely. You grab that.
Yeah.
I've got to say, I'm just really uncomfortable talking about this whole subject, man. So thanks, Tom. You're going to give me nightmares now.
He's going to wake up in a cold sweat.
The first call should be call the SES.
Well, no, call the fire, actually. Yeah, call the fire service. Okay, next one. John from Nevada writes in, and he says, "Hello, benchers. I'm going to be building a Dragon Models 1700 scale German Z39 destroyer and had a couple of questions for you guys." Well, you got Ian sitting here who built the 350 scale version of that, so...
Yeah, I think it was Z39 or was it Z42? Or
was it?
Yeah, they're
Still
all
a German
pretty much the
destroyer,
same. It was a twin front turret one anyway.
So, John asks, any tips for construction? I've got the Flyhawk photo etch set to go with it. but it's got PE decks as well as a million tiny bits for a ship that's only 6 inches long. The Z39 seems not to have a lot of information on it. Any recommendations for books, websites that I should look at? And I prefer using Tamiya acrylics for a lot of my painting. Do you happen to know the right colour for World War II German stuff is? Your show's great. I've really been enjoying seeing your quick progression and quality and comfort in front of the mic. P.S. I'm going to be building a kit on my fairly small YouTube channel called Scale Studio. If you want to go check it out, here's the link.
Oh, cool. Will do. Ooh, 1/700. That's even smaller than what I usually deal with.
Yeah,
that's more a question for our good friend Callum, who's amazing at 1/700 scale kits.
Well, let's start at the bottom end. So, Tamiya acrylics, German World War II colour stuff. What do you normally paint in for German colours?
German colours.
Well, he's a Guns person.
I'm a Guns person, so I have to usually colour mix.
Grey.
I know if you go onto the I'm pretty sure it's the WEM white scale, white inside models. I think they've got a colour chart on their website, which has got all the German Kriegsmarine, Royal Navy colours, US Navy, Japanese colours. More than likely, you're going to have to do some colour matching. So mix a grey maybe with a bit of blue or a bit of yellow, whatever it is, to get the right tonal variant. But I don't think there's anything that Tamiya makes that's going to be an exact copy.
No, there's not. Now,
the German Kriegsmarine grey.
Life colour do particular sets.
I'm just not a fan of life colour.
No, I don't mind life colour.
I can work with bucket of spray.
It doesn't matter what brand it is, because if you want to get that colour accurate,
you just buy that pot and then just
colour
use
match
that
it.
Colour match it to what that pot is. Even if you know, it might cost you $5 or whatever it costs for one pot of life colour. Just put that on a bit of white paper and
the
then
thing
just
is
colour match to
too,
that.
At 1/700 scale, you're going to be hard pressed to see the difference in a real grey tone between, say, a German warship and a different warship as well. So you can probably sneak away with something that's close enough and good enough.
Plus, also a lot of people talk about. I think the smaller the scale, the lighter the colour you make it.
Oh,
I don't buy that.
I don't buy that either. No.
Because you think if you do something like US in 1/700 scale where they got those dark hue blues, you're just going to lose so much detail.
And does that really matter when you're talking about a submarine? Because it's not like you can see it.
A Z39's a destroyer.
Oh, is it a destroyer? Is it? Oh, okay. Well, it's different.
The boat.
I know. You see, you tell me it's in a ship scale and it's German something or other. I'm assuming it's a U-boat.
No, it's a Narvik class destroyer.
Yeah, Germans actually had a fairly decent destroyer fleet up until Narvik, when the British Navy wiped half of them out.
And think where that happened too, and how cold the waters are.
Any tips on constructions that we got with him?
Start from the middle and work out.
Yeah, always with ships. That's the way to go.
Yeah, sub-assemblies.
Yep. Do as much pre-painting as you can.
Yes, get a good set of get a good optivisor or good set of glasses, so you want to be able to see what you're looking at. Plenty of light. You're going to need a ton of light.
And get comfortable with tweezers.
Yeah,
good set of tweezers.
A lot of people I've seen too, actually, when they're working on photo etch, is they get like a tub, and they do the work of the photo etch in the tub. So, as you know, when you work with photo etch, whatever project you're working on, you're going to hear that ting.
Yeah,
and you know that part's going to go flying.
And they often don't give you extras.
And you don't get extras, and when that bit's gone, it's going, especially 1/700 scale, it's gone for good.
Yep.
Not even the carpet monster's going to find that. It's just that small. It's just gone to another dimension.
There's plenty of reference books out there on the German, on the Kriegsmarine, so I'm surprised you're not having a lot of luck getting any information on the Z39.
I know I've got some books at home on the German Krieg. But off the top of my head, without actually looking at me book selection.
What I might do, I might flick this email over to you, Ian, and you can sort of perhaps answer some of the reference stuff.
I'll look through it this afternoon and send the email back to him.
Cool. All right. Well, that's about it for emails.
Yep.
As always, if you want to write into us, you can send us an email to onthebench64@gmail.com. We love hearing from you, love talking about what you've got to say, and love hearing and even seeing pictures of your models as well. So
yes.
Also have a Facebook page, don't forget that. Feel free to post your models on that. Love seeing what you guys are building out there.
Can they? Or is it
Yeah, they can.
They can,
They do it all the time.
Yeah. Yep. Anybody can post on there.
Good.
And
Because the only posts I see on that are ours.
we're the only ones who post on there. Yeah. Well, maybe it's time for everybody else to start doing it.
Yeah.
Let's have a quick break, and then we'll have a look at what's new in the modelling world, and then we can get into the meat of our main subject, Armour 101. Back shortly. Whether you build aircraft, armour, ships, science fiction, cars or figures, the Fine Scale Modeller magazine provides the how-to information you need to take your modelling to the next level. In each issue of Fine Scale Modeller, you'll find clear how-to features on model assembly and finishing written by experts, reviews of the hottest model kits and products, tips and techniques for assembling, painting and finishing, as well as inspiring photos of readers' models. To find out how you can get your copy of Fine Scale Modeller, go to www.finescale.com. And benchers, we're back, and we're going to have a look at what the Falcon has to say in regards to new kits that are coming out. So, the Falcon writes in, "Hi David and Julian, Airfix have announced their lineup of new toolings for 2022. I know this is not the newest news, but I'll include it because we all know how much you guys like talking about Airfix.
I know what you're talking about.
First up, there is the 124 scale Airfix Mark 4C. Then there are the two all-new 148 scale subjects, the Blackburn Buccaneer S2 and the Avro Anson Mark 1. Both of those I'm going to buy.
I'll probably just... I'm pretty keen on the Anson.
I'm keen on the Buccaneer. I love that aircraft. I remember...
Bucking keen on the Buccaneer.
I remember watching a series called... It was on the Ark Royal. It was her last cruise back in the 80s. There was a like a six-parter on it, and it had the Rod Stewart song "We Are Sailing" as the theme music. And I've got to get the Buccaneer. I reckon she's a great-looking aircraft.
I think it looks weird.
Didn't they end fight in the Gulf War?
Yes, they did. Well, they
it was that weird yellow colour they painted the aircraft in.
That pinky colour.
Yeah.
So once the Fleet Air Arm got rid of all their aircraft, their Phantoms and their Buccaneers, they went to the RAF, and the RAF flew them for a period of time. And the Buccaneers were used in Gulf War One. Yes,
cool,
correct.
Yeah.
He continues on. There are also the new 48 scale North American F-86 F4 Sabre, which is
F40.
What did I say?
F4.
Yeah, thank you. Sabre, which is a variation of the earlier Canadair Sabre Mark IV, and only one 72nd scale announcement, which is a Gloucester Meteor F Mark 8. The 72nd scale Handley Page Victor is making a reappearance. Some people were speculating, more like hoping, that it would be a new version or at least come with new decals. Those people would have been disappointed, as it is just a straight reissue with no changes except for the price, which is 20% higher.
Ouch.
Airfix are adding a number of old favourites to their vintage classics range. So in 76 we have the Fiat
72, Dave.
Oh, jeez. Okay. 72nd scale. They have their G50 Fiat, the Beagle Bassett 206, the F-80C Shooting Star, Westland Whirlwind Helicopter, Commonwealth Aircraft Corporation CA-13 Boomerang, and the de Havilland Beaver. In 124th scale, they're doing the Hawker Siddeley Harrier GR1. In 176 scale, the Joseph Stalin JS3 tank and the Type 97 Chiha Japanese tank. 1600 scale HMS Devonshire and HMS Fearless. Airfix are also adding 3 kits to their 35th scale military vehicle lineup. They are all ex-Academy German World War II subjects. I was so underwhelmed I neglected to note down exactly what they were.
Yeah, Panzer 3, Stug 4 and something else. They'll be underwhelming.
And just before Christmas, Airfix hinted they would be releasing a new tool, E-Type Jaguar. It's a true Blazing Saddles reference there. There will, in fact, be a new tool, Airfix E-Type, released in 2022. What might be mildly surprising is that it will be 143 scale. This will be joined by Bugatti Chiron and, good luck with the pronunciation, a Paganini Hayura.
Go on, Julian, you say it.
I believe it's the Pagani Warrior.
There you go. Also in 143.
Yeah, something like that.
Looks like all three will be marketed starter kits that come with glue, paint, and a paintbrush. What's with the 143rd scale? What the hell's that?
That's a common,
Yeah.
well, common-ish, like scale that's smaller than 124th.
Yeah. And some of the
car.
Japanese,
It's strictly a car thing.
and some of the Japanese brands are super
metal-
expensive.
White
yeah,
metal
white
bodies
metal.
and full photo etch, everything on the
Yeah.
inside and brake
And
discs.
I know.
Amazing.
I saw one
You're
which was
talking
a
about
bit.
the Tomica stuff.
I'm not sure of
Could
the
be
brand.
Tomica. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I remember seeing one a guy had, and it was a Bugatti, but it was already the body had been painted. It was a pre-painted body, and just the finish on the pre-painted body itself was just amazing. And this thing was worth nearly $1,000 for a 143 scale car. It
Oh,
was
geez.
just stupidly expensive.
No. On to aircraft news. It was rumoured that Special Hobby had a new tool 148 scale Lockheed Hudson in the works. Exciting news for many modelers, me included. Half an hour later, the hopes were dashed when the scale was altered to 172nd.
Oh.
It was later confirmed that Special Hobby are indeed working on a family of Hudsons. Mentioned so far are the Mark IV, the Mark V, and the Mark VI. And the scale will definitely, positively, be 172nd. The first one is slated for release in the third quarter of 2022. Special Hobby have announced two new 32nd scale kits. Oh, here we go. A Manchu, did I get that right?
It looks right.
Thank you. KI-79 Japanese fighter trainer and a Fiat G50B Bi-Commando 2-seater, both planned for release in 2022. Three new 172nd scale kits have also been listed by Special Hobby. A Sunderland Mark 1/2 Flying Porcupine to be released in March. A Curtiss Wright CW-21A and B Demon for release in the third quarter of 2022. And finally, an Aero AB-11 L BUCD Bluebird on a long flight over Europe, Africa and Asia, which is going to be available in June. Still more news from Special Hobby. They're releasing 148 scale kits of the Piper L4 Grasshopper /J3 Cub. 3 boxings to begin with. The L4 Grasshopper in military service, the L4 Cub in post-war service, and a Piper J3 Cub. The kit is revived MPM project. It started at MPM as a typical short-run kit, but will now be made to a Special Hobby's current mainstream standards. I reckon that should be quite an interesting kit.
Yeah, the Piper.
Yeah.
Shame it's not 35 scale.
Yeah, it'd be
So
quite
it-
popular then, wouldn't it? Especially the Armour.
So it was
models.
made to short run kit standards, and now it's been made to another set of short run kit standards.
Wow. Okay. Hannants have listed a Special Hobby new tool 148 scale Potez 631 twin-engined French World War II fighter. Don't know yet if there's a really all new or just a reboxing of the Azure kit. Hopefully it's a new tool and they will eventually get around to doing the ugly cool POS 63-11
Potez.
What did I say?
Pots.
Pause.
Okay.
You forgot the T.
Clearprop are working on the Polikarpov.
Polikarpov.
That's what I said.
Yep.
I-16 family, both in 172nd and 148 scale. They've shown box art of the I-16 Type 5 in the Spanish Civil War colours. They also posted a little movie showing the CAD renders. People knowledgeable about the I-16 were extremely positive about what they saw. Clearprop appear to have gotten the basic shapes right and have picked up on all the small nuances. The 177 kits will be released first. Clearprop are also working on the DH.9A. I can't get my lips around the word.
Polikarpov.
Polikarpov R-1. It'll be released in 172nd scale only. Edward will continue to release further boxings of their beautiful 48 scale Zero. A limited edition kit 000 with 10 to 12 marking options will be released in the second quarter of 2022. This will be followed by a Profi Pack version of the A6M2-N roof float plane fighter. The A6M3 models 22 and 32 will be released in limited kit editions not long after the roof is actually released. In the second half of 2022, we'll start seeing the Grumman F4F kits.
Yay.
There's going to be a limited edition of the F4F-4 kit, the Guadalcanal version. After that, there will be a profile pack editions of the F4F4 and the F4F3.
You know, Dave, drinking from that glass of water isn't going to help you pronounce things better.
No, my throat is so dry. And I've got this great big, huge screen sitting here with 3 other people who can read English who aren't even chiming in to help me.
No, this is your paper. This is your paper.
I'm not sure if you've noticed, but over time you're slowly getting a little bit of that newsreader accent that they do.
The people I have to put up with. Why is life so hard? Zukimura will be releasing another 148 scale Phantom. This is going to be an F4G Phantom 2. Must be the most wanted version of the Phantom, as the Jet guys seem pretty excited about this one. I've got to disagree with that.
And a 32nd scale 109 G6, which they've shown photos of all in skeletonized and stuff. So that'll be better than a Phantom.
Yeah, I think so. Dora Wings have just shown CAD renders of the 48 scale.
D1
Thank you. D500 French Interwar Fighter. Dora have already released a 132nd scale version of this subject, but the 48 scale kit from Dora will be most welcome. Keen listeners might be thinking, haven't Dora already released kits from the D500 series and 148 scale? Yes, they have, but those were reboxings of the AMG kit. For this new D500, Dora are starting from scratch. A Model have shown box art for the 172nd scale US guided bomb, the ASM-N-2 BAT 2-in-1 kit. I've got no idea what that actually is.
No.
Anyway. Cora Models are kitting the IM-AM Row 41 in 172nd scale. These kits will be injected styrene. There will be 2 kits to begin with. The is that pronounced IMAM or IMAM?
Oh, I'd say IMAM.
Yeah. Row 41 Spanish and Hungarian service. And also the Bicommando 2-seat version. I'm just going to go back to... I'm just wondering what that bomb is. Let's have a look.
All right. Like something that was used in the Second World War.
It's a bomb with wings on it that hangs from the wing of a bomber.
Very early glide bomber used by the US Navy.
Yeah, by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Lots of pictures of Corsairs and privateers and...
Okay, cool. Now I know what that is. That's cool. Fly Models are releasing 2 132nd scale Saab J29 Tunnons in February 2022. The J29B and the J29F. The kit is injected styrene with resin parts for cockpit, wheel wells, wheels, etc. Marking options for Swedish and Austrian aircraft in the J29F boxing, and you'll get the UN and Swedish markings for the J29B. Italeri have announced 3 100% new aircraft models for 2022. First one is a 172nd scale AMX Ghibli ground attack aircraft single-seater, and a 148 scale F-35B short takeoff and landing, and also a 132nd scale Macchi MC-202 Folgore.
Oh, that's interesting.
The 202 is a cool plane.
Is it?
Yeah, it's
Yes, it is, Dave.
probably one of the nicer of the Italian aircraft of the Second World War.
Everyone knows it as like that one Italian plane that looks like a rip-off Messerschmitt.
Well, I mean, they had to get one aircraft right, didn't they? Of all the ones they tried to build during World War II.
Well, they actually made lots of different planes from lots of different manufacturers that looked the same as that, basically.
Yeah, well,
They gave it a red hot go.
Yeah.
Italian Air Force didn't have such a good time in the Battle of Britain.
and as time got on, they just got longer and longer and more sort of elongated.
Let's move on to military vehicles.
No,
and
you've
DAS.
got civil vehicles too.
Have I? Oh, civil vehicles. Let me, sorry. Italeri will be releasing an all-new 124 scale kit of the Scania S730 Highline 4x2. For those not in the know, that's a semi-trailer tractor truck. Another all-new announcement from Italeri is the 112th scale kit of the iconic Bugatti Type 35B.
Oh, nice.
Military vehicles, Dash Work will be releasing a 1/35th scale kit of the Russian T-72M main battle tank. It is a cooperation with Amusing Hobby. Amusing Hobby have the T-72 in their range, but it's a slightly different M1 version, and comes with a full interior, while the Dash Work kit will have no interior parts.
I like Amusing Hobby kits. They make some really unusual 46 Wehrmacht tanks.
And that T-72 with interior is beautiful. Really great.
And Dash Works are interesting what they're doing in recent times as well. I'm really keen to see how they grow moving forward into the future.
Yeah.
Tiger Model have announced 2 new 35th scale kits, a French Army Leclerc main battle tank coming out in 2022.
Or rather,
the 2022 version.
Yes.
Oh, cool. And also a T-90M, the Russian main battle tank, 2017-2021 version. Baltimore have just announced a 35th scale Jagdpanzer 4 L48 early. People are also saying the box art is odd.
Very odd.
What's odd about it?
Well, so it's the box art's kind of really the tank itself's really nice, but they've put Sherman wheels and tracks on the Glacius plate as like add-on armour. But
That's weird.
But the Sherman wheels and tracks are from an Easy 8 Sherman, which is like really late war. and this thing is like, April, May 44 sort of thing. So they kind of, didn't see each other, wouldn't have crossed each other in the battlefield at all, which is a bit odd. But it'll be a really great kit. Yeah, it'll be a really great kit.
Rifle models have announced 2 new 35th scale kits, a Stug 4 early production with full interior, and a T-35/85 model 1944 factory number 183. I tell you what, the special interest group guys out there who build and specialise in T-34s get themselves really excited when it comes out of a different kit coming out of a different factory. They just get all frothy at the mouth and.
Is there much of a difference between them?
Yeah.
Yes and no. If you could take a turret off one factory tank that was built at one factory and put it on another, so it's like an AK.
Right.
The parts are all interchangeable, but once you start looking at them, you start picking tons of differences.
Oh, right.
Yeah, tons of differences. Real minor ones.
Yes.
But, yeah.
Excuse me. Italy have shown box art of a new mould 35th scale T-34-76 model 1943. As Italy doesn't say 100% new mould, we can only assume it is based on their recent T-34-85. Not such a good thing. Italy have also announced a 35th scale Semavite M42. Semavetti. How's that?
Semavente.
There you go. M42 DA75/34. I've got no idea what the hell that is.
You don't need to. You just need to read the English.
You might remember Tamiya released this version of this particular thing in cooperation with Italy a while back. And now that you're winding me up, Julian, I've got to do a search and actually have a look and see what that is.
It's basically a self-propelled gun.
Yeah.
Like a Stug, like a Italian Stug.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't know what it looks like, dude.
Now you do.
Now I do. Oh, that's it. Didn't we capture some of them in during the Desert War?
Similar. We captured an M1139.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, so it's effectively that running gear, but with a turret.
And we put big,
skippies on the side.
Big white kangaroos on the side. That's
Yeah.
right. Academy have announced a 35th scale Panzer III kit, an OSFL Scherzen, a slight variation on their previously released Panzer III OSFL Mitchout Scherzen.
So it's got side skirts.
I Love Kits will be releasing a 1/16th scale M4A1 76 Sherman. Now, we spoke about this last episode. This is going to be the year of 1/16th scale armour kits.
It's definitely looking like it, isn't it? There's a lot coming out.
Everybody's releasing 1/16th scale kits, and everybody's all getting excited about it.
But I've noticed over the years, kits are getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, but then the modelling population's ageing.
That 16 scale Sherman, no one's really done one in plastic.
No.
In that scale before. That'll be like gangbusters.
Oh, definitely.
Be great.
And especially I Love Kit, they do some nice moulding too.
But the 1/16th scale, we're into the remote control sort of scale now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam, since you're our armour guy on deck, I just want to say, Shermans don't get enough love,
They don't.
right? And
Especially if you ask a Sherman guy.
right? And every kit that gets released is always the exact same variant.
Yes.
No.
Well, the ones I see every time I look at one, it's always a later one with the 76 gun. It's never one of the early classic,
Early war ship boxes. No, sorry.
yes, those.
No, I remember, well, what was it last weekend? You and I spent well over an hour trying to find, was it an M4A2 75?
The good people at Zvezda we've released one.
Is it a good kit? Because
It's
I want
a-
to do
it's a
I want to
great
do a
kit.
Pacific War Sherman. That's
Yep.
the one thing I want to do is a Pacific War Sherman with spikes on it.
Yeah, Dragon did it, and good luck finding them.
I found one on eBay for $80.
That's not bad, actually.
So
So
I might
yeah,
actually
so
use
Zvezda have done it because the Russians use them. They got a ton lend less because they're diesel engines. So the Americans didn't use them; they gave them to the Russians.
Yeah, that's what they did. They gave away all the ones that I didn't
All
like.
the diesel ones, or the ones
the
that
ones
were
with the
troublesome.
Chrysler multi-bank, they gave those all to
To
the British.
yeah. So yeah, and they've also done. It's probably not on the list, but they've done an M4A. An M4A 276, which are the ones they rode into Berlin on. So you see a ton of them in Soviet service in Berlin.
Yeah, see, that's the one I see getting kitted all the time, right? I mean, there's probably only like 2 or 3, right?
Yep.
But it seems like, why would so many companies release so many of the same variant one after another,
Yeah. Well,
Dude, there's so many to choose from. Just pick a different one.
Yes. So, sorry, Dave.
Oh, well, now Julian's vented his spleen.
Yes.
They will also, this is I Love Kit, will also be releasing a 135th scale kit of the US Army C-RAM with Hemet-A3, which I think is a truck from
Yes,
memory.
it is, yes.
Hello have announced a 1/16th scale. Here we go again. Hello have announced a 1/16th scale Panzer III OS FL. No one will be surprised to hear that it's not a Hella original tooling. This is a reboxer trumpeter kit. Apparently Hella have released a 16th scale Stug 3, also from Trumpeter, but I'm afraid that I missed that one. Hobby Japan have released a new tool 135th scale Japanese ground self-defense force 155mm howitzer, an FH70 for those of you who are actually interested, and the crew set will be released for it in March 2022. Miniart have shown the kit contents of their upcoming 35th scale G7017 1.5 tonne 4x4 truck with a wooden body. There are 5 marking options, all for the Soviet Red Army, but the kit also includes 2 crew figures. And finally, ICM will be releasing a 35th scale kit of the German conversion of the French FCM36 light tank. I apologise for this in advance, but it's what is written on the top box. Oh my God, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that.
Okay, it's 10.5 centimetre.
Geschutzwagen.
Yes. Selbst
You didn't into the first part though.
Selbstfahrlet.
Geschwätzwagen.
Fahrlet, yes. And Geschutzwagen.
Yeah.
Basically a German self-propelled howitzer. And that's all from the Falcon.
Based on a French chassis, yeah.
Well, the Germans pinched everything out of France after they sort of took it over.
Yeah,
So
and Czechoslovakia.
yeah, Czechoslovakia. Well,
Took all the T-38 chassis.
you could argue the reason why they went into Czechoslovakia was because of the Skoda works there.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But I did see recently that Fine Molds is going to be releasing a heap of 135th scale Japanese armour this year,
okay.
which is quite a whole heap of different Type 97s and 95s.
They're re-releasing.
Are they already?
They're already out.
So they'll be re-releases. Yeah.
Yeah, they're at Metro. Obviously.
Are they? I'll have
Yeah.
to check it out
Yeah, they've got a ton of them. They're great.
because I'm starting to get a nice collection of Pacific War armour.
Have you guys got any sort of new kit things before we move on?
No.
No. Sam?
Tons. It's a whole other discussion about what's coming in armour. But
Oh, okay. Shall we save it for the armour segment?
Miniart are coming out with Stug 3s with interiors.
Yep.
Border Stug 3 with interior. Yeah, a bunch of stuff. Still no idea what Tamiya is doing. You'll know when that happens.
Yeah.
It's
But,
typical to me.
Yeah, some good stuff coming.
Okay. Before we jump into our next segment, which is going to be talking Armour 101, I'm going to send out a challenge to the Falcon to try and find some new ship stuff that is being built. He's very heavy on the aircraft and the armour, pretty light on the marine stuff. So there you go, Falcon, if you're listening,
Yes,
which he does, I know.
I know he does listen.
All right, shall we have a quick break before because geez, it's going to be a long episode, man.
Good.
Should we have another quick break? What do you reckon? Do you guys need a drink or something?
Yeah,
Or
we need a
rehydrate?
drink.
Just
Yep.
get a drink.
All right, cool. Okay, we'll have a short break and we're going to come back talking about Armour 101. Okay, and we're back to talk about Armour 101. Of course, with our special guest, Sam Dwyer. Hello, Sam.
Good morning again.
All right, so the idea of this particular subject is to really sort of drill down into building armour, but starting right from the very first time when you build the kit as to where you first start and how to progress forward with some tips and tricks along the way. And we thought we'd get you in because you're such an awesome armour modeller.
Thank you.
World renowned.
Well, a legend in my own lifetime.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we thought it'd be really interesting to get you in and sort of see it from your perspective as well as to how you tackle it. We can talk about all different sizes as well. So 176,
Yeah.
172nd, even
Some great new releases in that scale.
Yeah.
Flyhawk.
Yeah, you got to love Flyhawk.
And that
They're
other
pretty-
Display?
display.
No.
Are they doing
No,
models?
they're the people who make the tools.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Vespid.
Ah, right. Okay.
Vespid.
Yeah.
So one thing I've noticed
Yes.
is that when most people start building armor,
Mhm.
they go for a tiger tank every time.
Look, it's very popular. Fortunes have been made by model companies by releasing a tiger tank.
Yeah.
And look, you know what? There's, people don't like tigers, and that's cool. People don't like German armour, that's cool. But that facilitates model companies being cashed up enough to release
The stuff that we...
at FCM 35.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Also, you talk to a layman who's not into the hobby or
Yeah,
interested
it's
in
Sherman-
it.
Sherman
You mentioned a type. You say, all right, give me a name for a tank, and 9 out of 10 times the person's going to go
Tiger tank.
Yeah, or
because
Sherman.
everyone
Yeah.
knows what a tiger tank is.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, people know what a Sherman is, but as I think it was we were off the air when we had
There's
that
a million
conversation.
different Shermans there.
Yeah, there's a lot of Shermans, and there's not actually that many kits. They're only
No.
starting to come in the last couple of years.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So
So you've chosen your kit. Where do you start when you build an armour kit? What's the very first thing? I mean, there's no rules, but what's the first thing you do when you get your armour kit?
probably even goes back, if you want to just take a step back, even when it comes to choosing your kit, it comes down to, jump on the Google machine and sort of find out if you wanted to build a tank of a certain kind, if there's something you like the look of, or you've seen photos of, or you've seen a mate building or whatever. Have a look and see what's available. And look, for every positive review, you'll get a negative review about a model or someone's opinion, and that's cool as well. But stick with a brand that you know, a Tamiya or a Dragon. Fantastic. I can't go past Tamiya kits. I just love them. So, but look, take-home stuff is excellent as well. So pick a subject that you like, or that you think will be, something you want to build, and go from there.
So would we? Is there a particular scale you'd suggest for the first time builder, or just dive in and go for a 35th scale?
I've given that a bit of thought as well, and again, that's another question: is like, who is it? Yourself as a first time builder of an arm kit? Is it a 10-year-old, building an armor kit to begin with, or someone who's been in the hobby for ages and wants to have a go at an armor kit? I reckon 35 scale is the sweet
And
spot.
probably Tamiya too.
Yeah,
something
and
easy to build.
Yeah,
It's not got too big a higher parts count.
absolutely. Yeah, and that I sort of a bit of a joke about Tamiya kits. They're made for 10-year-old Japanese boys to build. And so everything's going to fit, and there's detail there, and there's a scope for you to super detail if you want, or just build out a box, and you still get a really good replica of. If someone just wants a Tiger or a Sherman or a Panther or whatever to put on the shelf, then that's fine as well. So I would go with a Tamiya kit, Tamiya 35 scale kit to start with. Super easy to build, not necessarily tons of parts. They've got a really wide range of modern or World War II, Allied or Axis. There's tons of subjects, available. But if someone's really, has built lots of other kits before, then there's literally anything, any brand, you could have a crack at. Even the old little Larry kits, the old little Larry Shermans and the old little Larry Panzer IVs. They're really good kits for their time. Really great.
Well, Valendon used to make his money off those.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So when we build aircraft, generally everybody starts with the cockpit first.
Yep.
So where do we start when you first open up your box of your armour kit?
Look, read everything. Read everything that's in the box. Read the instructions cover to cover. I go through, even if I know I've built that kit before, I go through, and this sounds really, really basic, but I go through, and if there's 3 different marking options in the kit and I'm doing one of those marking options, or if I've got another marking option that I've got in my head that I want to do, or if there's modifications I need to make, I go through and I mark it out in pencil or a Sharpie or whatever as to what I need to watch out for. So I do lots of sort of pre-reading on what I want to do.
Well, especially with those dragon kits, you really need to.
Yeah.
It really helps if you annotate what you want to do.
Yeah,
exactly.
And circle the because they'll do the thing where they're like, do it this way or do it that way.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you should circle the one. Make sure you circle the one that's correct.
And unfortunately, with the dragon stuff, on one hand, that's fantastic. You get that option, but on the other hand, their instructions do lack a little bit sometimes, and so it'll say use part B35 or B37, and which one's the one you need to use? You need to go to your reference or go to the internet and go, okay, well, this is a late whatever it is, and therefore I need to use part B37 or whatever. So you need to kind of have a bit of nous about you to go and hunt for that info, which is good on one hand, but a bit of kind of pain if you just want to slam something together. You're a bit bound there, I guess. But look. Starting with a kit, first thing I do, read the instructions. I know that sounds really obvious, but you don't want to get to the last page where it says, "Oh, you should have cut a hole or drilled a hole here." Which we've all done.
Yes.
Every model, I've forgotten to drill a hole somewhere, and you have to try and get in from the other side or underneath or whatever, or just sort of fudge it.
I've done a thing where I've used the flashlight on my phone to
just
shine
the blind covered over hole. You can see if it's a bit light coming through.
Yes.
Done it absolutely. Yeah, many times. Yeah. Or just photos of the thing you're trying to. If there's a hook that's meant to go there or a fitting, it's like, it sort of goes there, kind of. That'll do. Close enough. And look, I jump around the instructions as well. So my thing is I want to get the hull together or get the turret together as the and usually instructions will say build the turret first or build all the hull first. I will get the main components together of the model first, and that means if I have to glue periscopes in from the underside before I glue the hull together or drill holes or whatever, I'll go through and do all that first, get that out of the way, so I've got 2 big components if it's a turret and a hull, or if it's a self-propelled thing, it's just the hull. So I've got, okay, that's me, that's the main thing together, and then I can do all the if I need to improve the armour texture or add weld lines or do flame cuts on the edges of of armour plate or whatever, I can do all that, and it's all already together, the hull's already together, any gaps filled, all that sort of stuff. That's just my methodology, but I mean, look, that's ask 10 different people and they'll give you 10 different answers as to what they go through first, sort of thing.
Yeah.
When I've tackled armour, I've always seemed to start with the lower hull first and the wheels. That's the first thing I sort of tackle. Only because it always seems like a chore to do that.
Oh, agreed.
And I want to get it out of the way first.
Sanding wheels kills me.
Oh, not only sanding wheels, but then masking the darn things as well. If you have to mask them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't mask them.
You don't mask them.
I kind of come up with, I am the laziest modeller in the world. And so, look, thanks for having me on, and that's the end of our show. I'm honestly the laziest modeller, and if there's a corner I can cut, and so that you don't, I'll just photograph it carefully so that, sorry to let everyone behind the veil, but I won't clean mould seams off inner wheels. I'll clean the sprue tags off as much as I can on the German stuff.
Well, you also realise with a lot of the German rubber wheels actually did have a seam.
They did, yeah, and also you can only see the front ones. So when you put tracks on them, you don't see the front ones. So why clean up the back ones?
That's right.
Cover it in mud, or if you've got a top run of tracks that are going to be hidden by the hull sides, why add the top run tracks? Just glue them on and get on with your life, yeah. So I'm really great at cutting corners. So mate Tracy in the States, he's like, how do you build them so fast? Like, mate, because I cut corners.
It also helps if you've got it on a diorama base and you know that there's no angle from which it can be seen. I mean, if it's going to like a model competition, someone's going to pick it up and turn it over and go, aha!
I'm going to get flagged for every competition I enter now, but even ones that I just glue to a plain wooden base, like a tank on a plank,
tank on a plank, that's a good one.
I rarely clean up the back wheels. I just cover them in a bit of mud, whatever, and away we go. So
To clarify, like when you say back wheels, you mean the inside wheels,
inner wheels,
right?
sorry, not the rear of the tank wheels, but you imagine like a German tank that's got the 4 sets of interleaved wheels, sort of thing. I don't clean up the back ones at all. I clean up the ones that you can see.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
and same with the suspension arms, because usually the suspension arms are separate parts. And
Yes.
they've got,
have you ever been
gates.
tempted to do like Paul Budzik does and buy a little lathe and just so you can just put a wheel on there and then just hold a piece of sandpaper to it?
I'm going to say something controversial here. I've never been tempted to do anything Paul Budzik does, especially after hearing him on that podcast.
You know what?
Wowee.
Yeah.
It's to be honest, it's kind of like those celebrity chefs, and they go to like these really extra levels of effort, and you're like, well, I'm not going to do all that. I'm just going to microwave this thing.
Yeah. And but I don't want to. Pardon my French. I don't want to shit on the way anyone does things, because that works for him, and he's got a niche, and like that's us.
Yep.
That's just not me.
Yep.
That's not me. So I'd rather cut time on that, so I can spend time on maybe detailing the model a bit more.
Yes.
Or really weathering it up to match the photo, to have it look like a real tank rather than a child's toy that's built well but looks like a child's toy that's unweathered.
Yes.
And that's
Everyone's got their own aesthetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that.
Yeah.
He's just a stickler for the construction.
Amazing effort and detail that went into that sort of stuff. But then the model looks toy-like when he's finished with it. So, but then that's my bent, because I like weathered stuff.
Yeah.
So,
But I mean, like,
see,
he's the guy who can, if there's no kit available, he can make it, and it's no sweat for him. Like,
No,
there's
amazing.
no kit for it, I'll just make it.
Amazing.
And
Yeah.
that's a cool
then-
thing in itself. But
yeah. Anyway, sorry, I didn't even start me. Yeah, but then shits on the guy who does his amazing 3D printed parts. Well,
Yeah.
it's technology and it's modern and it's new. So why rag on the guy who can do that?
Yeah,
I just
but-
felt that was really
it's Paul's. But if you've been to Paul Budzik's YouTube channel, you know that there's an old school aesthetic that runs through every facet of it.
Yeah, and there's something really pleasing about that too.
Yes.
About, I saw one where he was cleaning up a M48 tank gun barrel using some sort of weird dental caliper thing to make sure that you ratchet it down so that it makes the barrel sit perfectly round when you glue it together. I was like, wow, that's really, we don't all have access to those sort of tools, but that's a really cool Zen way of doing it, I guess.
Yeah.
If that's your thing. Yeah. Anyway.
The thing that I guess, well, I don't know, that some first-time builders of Armour sort of might put them off is individual link tracks.
Yep.
And this is a big thing of mine. I hate and detest rubber tracks.
Yeah.
I do. And every time I will look for an aftermarket individual link.
Yeah, we're in a good age. Remember last time when I was on, we spoke about full model.
We did.
And stuff, and they've shot themselves in the foot with their new business model. You can only order direct from Frill in Hungary now.
Yeah,
and you've got to pay mega bucks for postage.
Which costs more than the kit as well.
They do. But now, like, out of almost everywhere, but I mean, I use T-Rex tracks now. I don't know if you've seen the T-Rex stuff.
Yeah, they're 3D printed, aren't they?
Don't mean this to be an ad, but they're 3D printed tracks with 3D printed track pins that just push in from either side, don't need any glue, and I've used them on the last 4 or 5 models I've done. They are incredible, and a whole bunch of different manufacturers are doing them now as well out of Asia, and they're game changers. They're not heavy like Frill model, and they're not metal, so you can't sand the paint off to get that nice polished look.
Yep.
But you just paint them.
Yeah.
And they're amazing, and they're strong. They don't break. So it's a golden age for that sort of stuff now. So
Well, let's hope that that gets better over time.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think of Master Club tracks?
Yeah, they're fantastic. Yeah. I've actually found a few extra sets of those because I'm like, T-Rex tracks, and I've been ordering them like mad. And then I go and put them in a kit. It's like, oh, hang on, there's already a set of tracks in there. So we've got 4 or 5 Panther sets and Master Club Panther sets and Frill Panther sets.
I suppose that's the good thing
That's why you need an Excel spreadsheet.
You're right. I need that Excel spreadsheet.
Well, I suppose it's a good thing that your wheelhouse is mostly German Armour, because then you can always go, oh well, I'm always going to build another Panther or another this. I'll just use those tracks on something else.
Yeah. Look, my wheelhouse is German Armour, but then on the shelf above all my Panthers and that sort of stuff is all my Tamiya Armour, all Russian stuff, Shermans, all the French, R35, S35s, Charby, all the lovely Tamiya kits. So I got tons of extra, not necessarily always German stuff, but tends to be German stuff mostly. Yeah.
And there's not only and link and length is the other way of doing it. So what link and length is it's
a compromise.
It's a compromise between individual links and rubber tracks.
That's right.
So it is a segment that will have a number of
Track links.
track links already molded for you, and then there's a couple little individual ones to get you around the cogs.
Yep.
Yeah,
But
the
there's
drive
a
sprocket and so
really
forth.
good way of actually assembling, because I find link and length painful.
Yeah.
And I came across this guy. Gee, I think it might have been on one of the other podcasts, and they were doing like a build, the T34. They had a group build for T34.
Yeah, there was the Plastic Posse guys.
Plastic Posse guys, that's right.
Yeah.
And one of the guys there, because we were using one particular model, and what he did was he built the link and length tracks sort of on it, but not glued to the actual model, and you pull them off, so it's almost like a 176 scale sort of track that you've made up.
Yep.
So 176 scale kits, tank kits, generally come with the track molded as one with all the running gear. You just sort of stick it on. And the way they showed this was, and I'm not explaining it too well, you actually do the link and length way in such a way that you're replicating that, then you pull it off the model, paint your model and do rest, and then you stick the completed
running
gear back on again.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going
Did I explain that right?
I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah,
I know, but I want to explain it so that you can understand.
So let me just clarify.
Please do.
The tracks are all glued up onto the wheels. And
to the rear
wheels-
wheel. To the rear wheel.
To the rear wheel.
So you know, with like a T34, you've got a front wheel.
Oh,
and
I get you.
a rear wheel.
Yes, I get
so
you.
the rear wheel is glued, and you leave the front wheel off so you can get in there and paint everything.
Okay, so yeah, well, again, like this is not when we say rear, we mean the ones that are closest to the
Inboard.
hull.
Inboard.
Yes, inboard
Thank
wheels.
you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for example, like Tamir's released their most recent Armour kit is the M18 Hellcat. One of my absolute all-time favourite American vehicles.
I'm with you on that.
I love it. Love it to
It's the
bits.
sports car of tanks.
They do like 55 or 60 miles an hour. Like they're absolute just weapons. They're great. No armour to speak of.
No.
Death traps, but awesome. Anyway, and love the kit. Always loved the kit. And Tamir released it, so I got 3 of them in the end. Like built the first one just like straight away. The bench cleared everything, and it's got link and length tracks, and you can build it. So it's amazing. The rear sets of wheels on the hull,
Or the internal sets.
the rear wheels.
Okay,
so not
yes.
the front wheels, but the rear wheels
Yep.
have got a little key on them, so you can only mount them a certain way. And then on the bottom of the wheel, there's a little tiny notch in the tyres. So they mount onto the hull a certain way, they mount on the torsion bars a certain way. And then when you build the link and length tracks up, there's a little peg on one of the track links that perfectly keys the track links in, so they can only go on a certain way. They only fit a certain way on the model.
Oh, that is nuts.
It's amazing. And I know it's such a simple thing,
Yep.
but you can build it so that you can just pop the wheels out. And I was going to sort of look up my Instagram and show you. I was trying to get a photo of it on my phone, and I've done that. I've sort of built the tracks up as a separate thing, and they just sit on the bench in the shape of the tracks kind of thing, and it's perfect. So you can pull them off, paint them that way, and there's virtually no knockout pins on the tracks or anything like that.
So, isn't it like a thing with on the M18 where like one side of tracks is shorter than the other because of the way it's
with most vehicles that have torsion bar suspension,
Yeah, exactly.
that's the way it does. But what they've
it's more obvious on an M18 though because it's so short wheelbase.
Yeah.
isn't it?
Well, what they've done is I didn't notice the track run when you build the kit up. It's the same number of parts. I think what they've done is they just moved the idlers a little bit so that the track runs are the same length. Because the idler is where you tension the track,
Yes.
you screw it in and out.
Well,
So
because I'm a big fan of the Hellcat, I once tried to build both the artillery one, which is horrible, and the AFV Club one, which is equally horrible. For different reasons.
they've both got different errors.
And I threw the AFV Club one in the bin.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't get the tracks between the wheel and the fenders.
Nah, look, the Tamiya one, it fit.
It'll works.
It's just perfect. And I got mine built. So it's all I use the canopy glue. It's like PVA glue.
Yeah.
To sort of, I've glued all the major components together with canopy glue, just so I could photograph it, and then just pop it all apart, peel the canopy glue off, and then it can paint. I can paint it up. So it's an amazing model. So but then it's Tamiya. So
it's the very Tamiya like approach to engineering. Isn't it?
but they left out the driver's compartment. So
Oh,
for an
really?
open top vehicle, there's no driver's compartment in it. So you just close the driver's hatches or wait for Tiger Models designs to release a resin drop-in engine loaders driver's compartment.
I mean, there's not a lot in there really.
Transmission seats, some stowage in the sponsons,
Yeah.
stuff, but yeah, not a huge amount in there. But otherwise, the kit's really nice. So yeah, typical Tamiya. It's great.
As long as you've got the gun pointing forward, you probably can't see that far down.
Exactly right. And you can't move the gun anyway because it's got the mantlet bag, canvas mantlet bag.
That's that big dilemma, isn't it?
Again, it's 3 parts, and it's got the most beautiful fold detail that they've rendered, and that you glue the 3 parts together. There's no gaps, there's no seams. It's nuts. But then I've seen people online complain about the fact that there's some hooks on the side of the turret that are too thick.
Oh,
So cut them off and replace them, or build it out of box. So it caters to both. They're separate, so you don't need to glue them on. You can add your own, Anyhow, yeah.
well, it's good. It's good to use an example because that's as cutting edge a kit
Yeah,
for
it
Armour
is.
that you'll ever find.
Yeah, it is at the moment. Yeah, so and you can see where the money goes into it with the Tamiya stuff. I've just built their Phantom, and you can see where the money goes into that. Just everything's perfect on it. So
Would recommend to a new modeler if you want to get into Armour.
Yeah.
The M18 Hellcat is probably a cool thing to start off with.
tons of parts, but it all falls together perfectly. And it's cheap.
It's not mini art.
It's cheap. No, I don't. It's not. I still sit up at night, sweating. Oh, mini art, no. Oh, the Panzer IV. It was one of the models I finished last year. Was the Panzer
We should
IV.
move on to painting, I suppose.
Well, before we get there, some of the other aftermarket things that some people, and it's interesting to see a lot of kit manufacturers actually now supplying it, but
Metal barrels.
metal barrels. Because generally, back in the old bad days, you get a barrel and it would come in 2 halves. You got to stick it together and you get that friggin' seam along the side.
And then 9 out of
was-
10 times that you end up with a flat spot
Flat
because you've
spot. Flat
sanded
spot.
too much of the seam
Yeah.
away. and-
So what aftermarket guys started doing was producing barrels, metal
Yeah.
barrels, actually aluminium.
aluminium.
Yeah.
And you just purchase them and paint them up and whack
Yep.
them on.
And 9 out of 10 times they've even come with rifling.
Yeah, they come with rifling or a machine brass muzzle brake if you're taking it on a
Yes,
muzzle
I've
brake.
got a few of those.
Yeah, I'll chuck a metal barrel on if one's available for sure.
The weirdest one I've seen is I've got the AFE Club Sturm Tiger, and that comes with a photo etch brass
for
sheet.
rifling, you got to
For
bend.
you've actually got to bend into a basically a cylinder and then sleeve it into
Sorry,
the barrel.
what?
Yeah, so because the Sturm Tiger's got really large lands and grooves
Yes,
in their
yeah,
rifling.
yeah.
And the kit comes as a very smooth bore.
Yeah.
And so you've got to somehow bend photo etch up to sleeve it into the barrel so that it's got the lands and grooves and the right curvature for.
Is there an aftermarket option for that?
Not anymore. Unfortunately, there was
that's-
a mod
that
called Lion Roar, who did
Yeah, Lion Roar,
who
yeah,
did a
yeah.
resin barrel for, I think, the Tamiya kit and the AFE Club Sturm Tiger.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I thought
which-
Lion Roar was still around.
long
They're
gone.
gone, are they?
Gone.
I've got some of their aftermarket
Yeah.
stuff. And it's
They
pretty
made
decent.
really great stuff. They
Yeah.
they make the best Emirate tools still, which if you can find them on
Because
eBay.
I've got
go
their,
for it.
I think it's Lion Roar is what I've got for my stirrer meal.
Okay,
They've
yeah.
got the mantlet and barrel with muzzle brake.
All right, so we've done the tracks, done the wheels. You've whacked the hull together now, I assume.
Yep.
Right,
You
stowage.
followed the instruction.
That's all the construction, right?
Well,
Aftermarket.
Aftermarket, if you want aftermarket.
Yep.
And look, I don't build much out of box anymore. I used to build out of box, but now if I can put some aftermarket stuff on, it's almost, you struggle to find a kit you can't get aftermarket for now. So
Yes.
you don't have to though. Like I could build that Hellcat, or I could build a Take-On Panther. I hate to sort of harp on about Panthers. You build a Take-On Panther kit without aftermarket, and it's got a full interior, and you get just enough etch to do the screens on the engine deck, and then you're fine. So and same any aircraft kit I could not talking about aircraft kits I could build out of box, no problem at all. But if I can load up a model with that aftermarket, I personally tend to do that.
Well, it's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. Yeah.
the thing about Armour models, which because I came into modelling from submarines and ships, and it used to blow my mind that you'd watch these Armour guys, they'd build the complete kit
Yeah.
and then paint it afterwards. And it used to do my head in, man. How do they get into the hard bits to get the paint in there and all this sort of stuff? So Is that still the case? Do you find the Armour model? Well, let's
Yeah.
take you, Sam. Do you build the whole thing and then put the whole thing on your paint stand and hit it all in one go?
Yes, because my thing also is photos, and more, relatively often they were published, or I'll write an article or whatever. So I photograph everything as much as I can. So I want to build that model with as little putty showing as I can, and as neat as I can, and as built as possible. And then I often do it so in the exploded view with all the sub-assemblies all out on my desk and that sort of stuff. So I build as much as I can, because in real life that's what they were painted. So all the tools were already on there when they were painted and that sort of stuff. And they were certainly all weathered that way as well. They didn't take the tools off or the stowage off when they were running through the mud or through whatever. So everything gets weathered and painted at the same time.
Okay.
But look, that again, that's just the way I do it. It doesn't need to be. It's not the way necessarily, but it works for me.
And also, there's the old there's the thing where if you can't see it, you don't need to paint it.
Yeah.
Right. Like anywhere you can look, you can get to with a brush.
Yeah.
See, but that scares the hell out of me, man, because I know that when I build something, and if I took that approach, there would be this one little spot that I can see that hasn't got any paint in it, and I wouldn't be able to reach with either an airbrush or a paintbrush.
Prime it in black.
Yeah.
Prime it in black. So use Gunn's, was it Mr. Surfacer 1000, and airbrush that as your base coat. And so when you do your camo over the top of it, if the camo misses a spot or doesn't cover as well as
Which
it
is a shadow.
has, you've effectively got a shadow, which is the start of weathering.
You're not going to have
kind of
that
thing.
light grey plastic jumping
That's
out of you.
it. Yeah. So, but then we talked about those T34s before, leaving the outboard set of wheels off, so you can paint the insides and paint the wear plates in the middle of the wheels silver and that sort of stuff. That's a good way of doing it as well. I've taken to if I'm doing a German tank and the wheels are interleaved or interlocked, I glue them all as one unit. Maybe just leave the outside set of wheels, the outboard set of wheels off or removable, so you can still weather the inside a little bit. And that way it's one part. You're not juggling 50 wheels.
See, when I'm doing my tracks, if it's a link, individual link, I'll have the track off and I'll paint and weather the entire track both sides and then glue it onto the model.
Yep.
Because I can't see how I can do it. My skills aren't such that I can do it when the track's actually on the darn model.
Yeah.
And so I have to do it off the model.
Yeah, but if that works, then brilliant. That's cool.
Yeah, but it frustrates me seeing these Armour models who can do it on the track, on the tank.
Yeah.
And I go, what is this witchcraft? How can they do that?
Mud.
There's also you can do it with some tanks and you can't do it with others.
Yeah.
Like you, for example, if you wanted to do a fresh Sherman, then you've got to worry about the rubber pads versus the metal linkages on the tracks.
That's right.
The M113s, for example, they're classic example with a little
pads.
Rubber pads in them.
Yeah.
In that case, you got no choice. But if you're just doing a Russian tank where it's all metal and it's all rusty,
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, but rusty tracks are only for a tank that's been sitting there for a couple of months not moving.
Well, even overnight, tracks will rust overnight. Yeah,
but not as bad as you see some people.
No.
Some people go way overboard.
I try to avoid rust wherever
Yeah.
possible, and I see people even like exhaust pipes. They paint up exhaust pipes on their tanks, that are in service. These rusty nightmares. It's like, well, hang on, let's have a think about how long that tank was in service for. Is it 2 years old? Is it 2 months old? The exhaust will have paint on it that will wear off or burn off after a while. But will it go really super rusty? No, and it's certainly not going to look like a vehicle that's sat at the Sawmill Tank Museum for 50 years.
Yeah, out in the open.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I've seen that. People will take colour photos from the 1950s or in like 1949.
Yeah.
And they'll go, aha, see? And it's like, well, that's
no.
not during the war.
Yeah. Yeah. Or a tank that's a runner to this day that's unrestored or is restored and beautifully run, but the exhausts are all rusty. Yeah, but if a tank was built in, May 44 and knocked down in July 44, is that going to be as rusty as that? Probably not.
Yeah, you see the same on aircraft as well. They'll do the exhaust looking like cast iron rust, brown. It's like...
It will be discoloured. There's no question it'll be discoloured.
Yeah.
And again, look, it's not dogma. It's just my personal preference, but I don't think it would be as rusty as that. And I try to avoid rust on my models. Never put the big, stigmata type rust streaks on tanks. I can't stand that. It just doesn't look realistic. And
Stigmata.
bleeding. It looks wrong. It just, to me anyway. It's just my thing.
Yeah, but see, I know that you enjoy doing your armour, whether that's your thing that you really get off of doing. But I actually also like tanks that are in pristine condition, and I can like that T-34 that we did for the group build. Mine was represented as one in the May Day Parade 1946.
Brilliant. Yeah, brilliant.
And so in service,
but clean
as.
Yeah,
And
awesome.
And you go to any of the armour regiments, when they have a CO's parade or something like that, or a celebration,
pretty clean.
Or even the Abrams today, they'll be in immaculate condition.
But if you catch them a week beforehand when they've been outfield,
or a week after,
and that's right, and they look like there's not a straight panel on them.
Yes.
And it's amazing.
They end up like in such a sorry state that you think, is this what our armed forces are like? They let things get this run down.
Yeah, to me, it's our textile at work. They're using them as they're supposed to be used. So it's awesome.
I sent this picture of a ship, like a modern US Navy ship, to Dave once, and it was just covered in like streaks of rust down the side of it.
Yep.
And he's like, "Oh, that's not how I want to build my things." And
was that the Zumwalt?
I don't know, one of them. But that photo got circulated a bit, saying, "Oh, look at how run down our military is." Blah blah blah. It's like, no, that's it came back from how many months at sea.
Yeah.
So I was in Hawaii in 2012 with the family, and I was on the Missouri, on the USS Missouri, at the Pearl Harbor thing, and the HMAS Perth sailed past. And you could see the rust streaks on the side of it. It was like, because they've been...
It's a salt environment, man. It's going to rust. Even over 24 hours, you can get rust starting up here. Yeah. It is what it is.
In fact, the Missouri was in better condition than the HMAS Perth. It was less rust on the Missouri. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Weathering effects. Yeah. But I mean, so you've taken a very well thought out perspective on weathering rather than the sort of popular weathing.
Yeah. I tried.
There's a distinct difference between the two.
And I find myself biting my tongue online all the time because people will put some fantastic models up, but I don't agree necessarily with the logic that they've used to paint the model in the first place and then to weather it. And so, the stuff that I do and the stuff that I like could potentially be seen as a bit dull. And a bit sort of, it's a bit sort of flat and a bit, but the real things look like that,
Yeah, they've taken the sort of more artistic license.
Yeah, and they don't look highlighted in that colour modulation thing, with a bright panel here and a dark panel there and all that stuff. No, they're really drab and
you can blame the Spaniards for that.
Yeah, I mean the Plastic Posse Sherman group, and I see some Shermans there that are these bright colours and dark shadows and stuff. It's like, oh, guys, just Google a Sherman at the end of the war. They don't look like that. They're the very opposite of that. They're drab and dirty and oil streaks and fuel spills and shiny bits where the crew have slid off the glacis plate on their bums, and so there's a big shiny patch. That's cool.
This is a similar, completely different direction, but it's a similar thing as to what we were talking about earlier with Paul Budzik's style of modelling.
Yeah.
He goes for the super accurate but clean, and these guys are going for the super weathered, but not that closely related to realism necessarily.
No. And
it's on the way, but it's gone a step too far.
And far be it from me. That's cool to do that.
People like looking at it. People like making it. It's fine.
I just don't think it looks real. I don't think it looks. And so like Panzer Grey is a thing at the moment too, and they do it. It turns out bright blue. Like, what, your eyes painted on, mate. They don't look like that. But that's cool as well. If they love it and they get enjoyment out of it, far be it from me. And I certainly wouldn't pipe in and say anything because it's just unnecessary. They don't need that grief in their life.
No. I mean, they've made the conscious choice to take it in that direction.
And look, paint it pink, put a flower on it. Who cares if you're enjoying it and you're having a great time? Ace.
Well, the pink is legitimate. There were stuff like that, right?
Well,
the desert.
Yeah, and I was at
British
in 2014, I think, was in Europe, and went to Czech Republic and went to a tank museum, Lázání Tank Museum, which is brilliant. If you ever get a chance to go there, it was a JS2, bright pink. Someone had painted the thing bright pink. It was a monument somewhere, and it's like musk stick pink, like that really lipstick pink colour. Yeah, bright pink. It was like, that'd be a good model to do actually. Paint the thing pink.
Yeah, so we've got the hull together. We've got the tracks on. We've hit it with our first coat. Do you do a primer first?
Look, yes, I do. Yeah.
Right.
So Tamiya grey primer in the rattle can. If if I've got it in stock, and the last couple of models I've tried airbrushing the Mr. Surfacer 1000 and thinning it with.
That's it's 1500.
1500, you're right.
Yes.
The black 1500. Yeah. So I wouldn't. Yeah. And as it was, I don't know, however many 40 odd years of building models, and I was packing myself about spraying Mr. Surfacer through my airbrush.
Yeah.
It was like, everyone's like, oh no, you'd be fine. I'm like, I know consciously I'll be fine to do it, but I was still like, is this going to clog up and kill my airbrush? Of course it didn't. It was
Did
fine.
you have to thin it down? Or?
Yeah, like 50-50 with Gunn's leveling thinner.
Okay.
Which is the best stuff. Amazing stuff.
Amazing.
So why spray the 1500 onto the tank? What's the purpose of that?
It's to prime it. So there was etch and there was all sorts of different other stuff on there, and it's just to unify the tank into one colour sort of thing, and to provide a really good base to then apply camouflage to. So, and that was my most recent one, which was the Meng's new Panther G. Grey, weird light grey plastic, almost white plastic, which is their most recent Armour kits have come out in, which is a bit weird. So I just thought I'll give it a go. Everyone's talking about how good it is, and it was great. The black primer was fantastic.
So, to the modeler out there who's never sprayed Mr. Surfacer 1500 black,
Yep.
what's the difference between doing that and the Tamiya rattle can primer?
You just
What's the end result that's different that is worth doing it?
well, I spray rattle cans outside
Yeah.
because they kind of is that you can't control the flow with a rattle can. You can you spray it in the garden and all you're killing is a couple of plants maybe kind of thing. Well, all you're painting is a couple of plants. Whereas I got this thing about spraying aerosol cans inside the house, like
Yeah, of
just
course.
everywhere.
That seems a bit much.
Everywhere. Whereas with an airbrush, you can control the flow as you expect to be able to do with the airbrush, and sort of so with a rattle can, you're controlling how much coverage is by how far you hold the can away from the model and how fast you move it. With airbrushes, you can super delicate with the control and that sort of stuff, and with the thinning it with Mr. Leveling Thinner, it's like smooth as a baby's bum when it dries. It dries super fast. It's quite hardy. It doesn't scratch off easily, which is terrific, and it's a great start to weathering.
Okay.
So
Fantastic.
which is interesting being black though, and I might try it with grey next time. I go light with my model colours to start with when I apply them, and so applying model camouflage colours over black, you got to put more paint on to get better coverage. But then you have that thing where if there's any gaps, you don't see
Exactly. Yeah,
you don't see grey paint, grey plastic shine through.
Yeah,
So,
it's like built-in shading.
yeah. So and that one, the most recent one was the Meng Panther, and that was I did the dot camouflage or the disc camouflage. So Germans, being attacked on all fronts.
So what
Hey,
do you-
let's make up another weird camouflage scheme.
So do you use a mask for that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So Ushi van der Rosen.
Yep.
They do a whole bunch of masks and all sorts of stuff. They did some vinyl cut masks, which are just discs overlapping each other.
Have you ever done the octopus?
No, I haven't. No,
That looks fun.
yeah,
It's got those
King Kong.
circles, like an open circle, but with a line running through it, and
Yeah.
so
these
like a lot of fun.
Panther built in certain factory at a certain time. Sort of August, September 44, just before Battle of the Bulge, and let's invent another camouflage scheme, and it was disc camouflage. So that was fun to paint, but I've never done one before, so this will be a chance to do it. So and that's coming. It'll be in the next issue of AFM Modeler actually. So
Okay, cool.
which will be fun. So
I've done that sort of scheme once, and it was on a Hetzer.
yeah. So quite a few vehicles had it. So Hetzers had it, Panthers had it, Jagdpanzer 4. The L70, the long guns had them as well. Brumbars had them. Yeah, quite a few.
It really annoys me when I see people do that scheme, but they make it look like clouds, and it's not distinctly a series of discs.
Yeah, well, the Panther though it had the discs, it had the green and brown camo put on, then the stencils and the discs done in dark yellow, and then there was a cloud pattern of dark yellow applied over it in place, random spots as well.
Right.
Because of course, why wouldn't you do that?
Well, speaking of weird camouflages, I know that with Copper State, their latest release, which is the French armoured car 1914, there's a limited edition run for the first run coming out with a special camouflage scheme, and it's like a cubist style forest.
Brilliant.
Paint on site, complete with trees and leaves and all sorts of gear.
That's awesome.
It looks amazing.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so, and of course, when you're building your tank up, you've got to still be mindful to cleaning seams, making sure you've got any gaps filled so they're not showing. You're modelling basic stuff, like you do with aircraft or with ships or with anything else you build.
So, there's people tend to poo-poo the statement of basic modelling skills, but that's super. It's important. Like that's clean the seams off. Make sure the
seams that you can see in your case.
Seams you can see. Know which corners you can cut if you don't want to clean any seams off. Yeah. But make sure that if the tools have little pegs on the back of them that fit into holes in the hull, that there's no gaps when you can see the hole, or really sort of simple stuff like that. Or if you're adding aftermarket stuff, I see this so often. People might scratch build something, or they might add aftermarket stuff, and they'll glue it on, but it's not straight.
Yes,
Although it's amazing scratch built stuff that they'll add to their model, but the panels that they've cut out of plastic card aren't straight. It's like, well, but so your eye, unfortunately, isn't drawn to all the work you've done. Your eye is drawn to the lines that aren't parallel.
The one wonky thing,
which is a kind of it seems like a waste. Of effort if you're not going to make it straight. Same if you're going to make photo etch fenders on a model, or you're going to replace the fenders with plastic card. Make them perfect first. Make them dead straight and like the real thing first, then ding them. Because otherwise it's going to look like you've done a bad job and then tried to hide it with a ding. Yeah. And that's sort of real basic stuff, but it pays dividends because then it means that when you finish the model, it's going to look great.
For some reason, there's a bit of a thing where people will go, oh, I've gone to this extra effort, but I haven't gone all the way.
Yeah. But that's cool as well. Like if you only want to replace a couple of things with, that's fine as well. Like whatever, I don't want to tell people what to do necessarily.
But speaking of scratch build, has anyone seen online the French tank that our good friend Chris Meddings is scratch building?
He is bonkers, that guy. Have you seen the detail he's putting into that?
I had a good look at it again today.
He is off the chart.
My mind.
I know.
You've seen it as well, Sam?
Yeah, scratch build work is
I don't
great.
think he's human. He's just
he's
the
an
work he
amazing
does.
builder.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
And that's kind of what I love. Everyone sort of rags on social media a bit, but that's what I love about social media is there's every day you wake up and you have a look and there's something else that's great on there.
It's going to blow your mind.
Yeah, whatever.
Exactly, inspiring.
Hey, imagine if the British cricket team was as good at cricket as Chris is at scratch building.
Well, whatever. A modelling podcast, not a sports podcast.
But it's just fun to just dig that knife in a little bit more.
So when it comes to so when it comes to weathering, with myself, I always try and. I found the most helpful thing was when I was a youngster. I got my hands on Shep Payne's How to Build Dioramas book, and he had a paragraph on weathering and basically opened my eyes because he said basically a lot of people that do weathering they just go all over the kit.
Yep.
Whereas he goes, no, look where people travel.
Yep.
Look at the areas they go over. Look at the wear parts. And when I recently did me armoured car, I did scratches on the side, as you're going to get, travelling through Belgium and France and through underbrushes and so forth.
Yeah.
But all the main chipping of that was on the top of the doors, where they open the doors.
Absolutely.
And hinges and so forth.
Yep. And another thing, like, because... as I mentioned earlier, I'm building aircraft kits at the moment as well. Sorry. I've been down a rabbit hole with RAF Hornets and RAF Hornets in the Middle East specifically, and there's some amazing shots of our Super Hornets, which are brand new aircraft. And you imagine where the canopy closes, and then below the canopy line, there's all like grubby handprints.
Yeah, grubby.
Yes.
I've seen
But on the canopy itself, it's perfect, grey. Because it's not dirty, because it's sitting above where, a person is going to, and they're not allowed to grab the canopy. So, of course, so you've got paint chips, but then you've got like oily handprints, or you've got grimy stuff.
Or those kind of fingerprints where they've disturbed the dust.
That's right. Yeah. And Dave Parker is just, name drop again, but he'll do that. He'll paint oily handprints on stuff, or he'll paint clean handprints in dust of the underlying green paint or whatever. It's just those little 1%ers can make such a difference to a model. You just a little surprise that someone will see it and go, "Oh, look at that!" That's nuts.
Well, one thing that I often don't see that often on armour kits is when they do the chipping, it's always rusty chipping.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it doesn't have to be.
Doesn't.
I always
it wouldn't be rusty.
I always use just the dark black grey
Yeah.
for my chips.
German camo black brown.
That's the one, yeah, exactly.
In Vallejo colour.
Yeah.
If you think about it, if something is bright orange rust and you put your greasy hand on it, you're in a tank and you're servicing the gun, so you put lubricant and cleaner in the gun, for example, or if you've serviced the transmission or you've done first line maintenance on the tank before, if the crew normally would do, a bright orange dry rusty patch, you put your greasy hand on it, that's going to go almost black kind of thing. So you wouldn't be any...
and grease, grease was used so liberally in those days.
Yeah, so
right?
it's going to... And it's going to
it's a moving part, let's put grease on it.
Yeah.
Loads of it. Just heap it on.
Yep. And so you'll see that sort of bloom of grease where it's seeped into dust on models and on the real thing. And so that's a really good effect to put on stuff. Things get dusty, and it will stick to that bloom of.
It seems to be my
grease.
that's my number one go-to weathering product is European streaking dust from AK.
Yeah, right.
That stuff is amazing. I use that on basically nearly every Armour kit I build.
Isn't it funny how you got the one go-to thing?
The
I've
one
got
go-to.
Vallejo German camo beige.
Yes,
That's my dust go-to on.
Yes.
Doesn't matter where the vehicle is, it's going to get that.
Yes, yeah, haze of that.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and I use it as a wash, and then because I try to steer clear of enamel sort of products if I can.
So do you also use with your paint chipping? Do you use like the two-tone paint chipping method, or you just go for one colour?
Sometimes, but no, not often. No,
Right.
if I'm going to chip, it's going to be with that sort of German camo black brown sort of colour, or an AK equivalent is an AK. Yeah, dark brown or a third gen dark brown colour, which is just almost as good. So it depends which is easier I can find in the drawer.
Yes. Yes. Because I've seen I've seen was it Uncle Night Shift?
Yeah.
When you watch him do his paint chipping, and he can spend like a week just doing little micro dots.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
I try and get that far, but I only last like a day and a half before my brain's about to explode, and it's like, that will do.
My caveat with that is that's his job.
Yeah.
I've got a job.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
And then other things in my life. So
He's making good coin doing these
and
videos,
as
so
he
he can afford to do it.
As he should, because he's a genius. But I have a job, and this is a hobby, and I figure I'll just do what I like to get to a point, and as we all kind of do, and spending 70 hours chipping a model is not for me.
No.
No.
A day and a half, and I've had enough.
Yeah. So
The other thing too is, of course, always go on YouTube and have a look. There's plenty of people build kits, so you can see if there's any sort of issues with that particular kit. People
Absolutely.
do heaps of YouTube. So, for example, if you're going to name your kit, the Rifle Panther.
Panther G. Yeah.
Panther G.
There's people building them on YouTube.
Yep,
It's
exactly
great.
right. And so that gives you a good idea of what sort of issues potential the kit has when you're first starting out to sort of build it as well.
It's a fantastic resource. It really is. And I happen to be a little bit of a rabbit hole with RAF aircraft at the moment, and so I'm looking at Kinetic F-18 to see how bad or good it is. And that's because I know plenty about the Armour stuff, but aircraft stuff is not necessarily my bag. So and definitely YouTube. Yeah. My only issue with YouTube is that there's no one on there saying, okay, this is an M4A1 Sherman and this is the Larry kit from whenever. It's accurate for a Chrysler built. You know what I mean? Because I personally want that detail. I want to know that it's right for a time frame or right for I can use it as an American one for Operation Cobra, the breakout in Normandy, but I can't use it as an IDF one because it's the same tank. Used by the IDF in the 60s. No, I can't use it as that. So there's no one I've found on YouTube that's doing that level of detail in their reviews. It's like, hey, the kit builds up really well. It's got 20 sprues and stuff. And maybe that's just my appetite for for more stuff.
Well, there's a gap there, Sam. Then
I don't need another hobby.
Especially one so time-consuming as YouTube.
Oh, it's
I
hard
don't know if
doing
you mentioned
videos.
before. When I mentioned before, I have a job. I don't need another job.
It's so time-consuming doing a video. It really is.
Yeah. And more power to people who can do it.
100%.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great, and I'll happily consume it all day long. But I just don't know that I have it in me to do it myself.
Now,
What about writing a book instead?
Done that.
I mean, like specifically what you're talking about right now, going, this is a Bible for people who want to build Shermans, and going, if you want to build this, you pick this kit and blah blah blah.
The Modeller's Guide to Sherman Tanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there definitely is a market for that sort of stuff.
And you just don't want to be the guy to do it.
So imagine the amount of work involved.
It can be a lot of work.
You forget about modelling for the next 5 years.
Yeah, I've done a couple of Osprey books back in the 2000s, and that was great fun, but also fraught. Just I lived on V, Red Bull, like just to try and get it over the line, sort of thing. And then I've done a couple for AFV Modeler and that sort of stuff, and it gets in the way. Like, it's great, and
it's not the kind of thing you can chip away at for like a period of 5 years and then go, okay, well, I've gotten it to close enough, I'll just do the last bit, and then see if
it's tough, because if you were going to say, okay, I'm going to write a book on modelling Sherman in 35 scale, it would get snapped up. There's no problem, and there'd be people who would publish it for you in a heartbeat, or you could self-publish.
Right.
No problem at all. But the kits move so quickly,
right,
that you write about the current Tasker kit, Sherman kit, Tamir kit, or and the new Zvezda ones. But then by the time you finish writing it, if you're going to take a couple of years to do it,
there's already been another 10 new issues.
That's exactly right. And so all of a sudden, the kits you build are out of date. And who's going to want to buy a book about fixing the little Larry Sherman, as an example? So you've got a power build. You've got to, really, or, some people I know, they'll farm it out. So I'll get you to build, one Sherman, and Dave will get you to build another one, and you to build a third one, kind of thing. And so that we collaborate, and you get some great people involved doing it, and that works, because you get the speed out of it then. So you're halving the work, or quartering the work. Yeah. But look, there's definitely a market for it. And
well, if you were going to do like a book specifically on Shermans, I think you could probably just sort of wait another 3 years, and the whole Sherman craze will have died down, and people will move on to something else.
I don't think there's ever. I wouldn't call it a Sherman craze. Sherman's always going to be there as Tigers. They
were ignored for the longest time.
Yeah.
In fact, if you go back 5 years ago, you could have written a book within a whole 10-year period, and no kit would have come out.
Yeah. But Dragon were there plugging away,
just reboxing their kits repeatedly
with an extra sprue for that one part you might need. But Tasker came along, and that was a golden age, because Tasker Shermans are some of the best kits that have ever been released. And then one of my favourite kits is the Tamir M4A3. The Easy 8 one they released a couple of years ago now. It's such a great kit. It's so few parts, but it's such a great kit, and it's late war as well. But
the only reason they brought that out was because of the movie Fury, right?
No, well, it's not even related to.
I'm not talking about the Easy 8 Fury, looking one.
Yeah, it's rabbit hole. It looks a little bit like the Fury one. It's an M4A3, whereas the Fury one is in fact a diesel M4A2 Easy 8. So whilst they look a little bit like a Sherman on the outside, they are in fact quite different.
Yeah, but. Right. The layman's aren't going to know that.
No. So Johnny Organbank, who wants to go and build a Sherman, look, Ma, there's a tank. And that's ultimately who these model companies sell to.
Yes.
If they can sell a couple to us, that's great. But really, we're not the target demographic. No. It's the look, Ma, there's a tank crowd. And that's who they want to sell to. Yeah. And if it looks like a Sherman, that's good enough.
Exactly. And that's why I don't understand these people who get their knickers in twist, like, this Tiger tank is not exactly for this specific week in 1943.
Hey, go easy.
Right? No, but I mean, that's they're not making it for you.
Nah.
They're making it for that guy.
They're making it.
Because the casual guy's the one that makes them the money.
Yep. Yep. And I would, we've been long speculation that, Tamir, they march to the beat of their own drum. In regards to their releases, doesn't seem to be a lot of rhyme or reason to stuff. And what market are they catering for, really? Is it the Japan internal market?
Yes.
Or is it everyone else? And if they sell any to the rest of the world, that's great. And they know they're really going to sell
that's my belief, anyway.
Well, we kind of all share that belief. Weird that they would go and do that. Or are they picking subjects that they've got access to the real thing so they can go and measure them? And is that driving their decision process? There's plenty of French tanks available to measure. So they've released a whole bunch of World War II French tanks recently. There's an M18 Hellcat available everywhere, to measure, so they can have good access.
Maybe they saw that one blow up, and they're like, "Well, maybe we should do that before there's none left."
Before they're all gone. Yeah, so it's interesting. It's a little time thinking about what's their thought process behind their releases, but. They're not marketing it to me.
Everyone likes to try and guess which one they're going to bring out next, and they often get it wrong. Maybe this one will be the one that we get the...
I did pick the Hellcat though. So someone put a thing up saying, I wonder what the new Tamiya kit's going to be. Oh, Marcus Nichols put it up on the Tamiya page. And I went, I bet you it's a Hellcat. And then it was 6 months later, I was like, hey, everyone, who made a Hellcat?
Julian, you did the same with the P38.
Yes. No, not so much. I was sort of in the position where I said, you know what, this would be a great time for Tamiya to bring a P38. Not that they would necessarily do it, because I don't even try to divinate what Tamiya are going to do next. But I felt that there was a massive hole in the market for it.
And didn't they fill it?
Yes.
Boy, oh boy, what a kid.
Yeah, no one will touch that.
Yeah, what a kid.
And then they did the same thing with the Hellcat. I was looking on, there's the Atelier kit, there's the AFV Club kit. They're both garbage. Why hasn't this been touched yet? Because it's so mainstream.
Yep. And I know money, whatever, but it's $67 here in Australia. It's so cheap. It's half the price of a take-home kit, and it's made. Granted, it's made in the Philippines. It's not made in Japan anymore, but it's such quality. So it's great. So I bought 3 of the things.
Really, you bought 3?
Yeah, because I'm the easily suggestible type, and I've impulse control issues. So I saw one for sale on eBay in Brisbane. I thought, I'll order that. And it was just before Christmas, so it didn't arrive till after Christmas.
And then you saw one on a shelf somewhere here, and then
Metro Hobbies.
Yeah.
And so I ordered one online through Metro, and that arrived after Christmas, and then went into the Hobbyman just near us, and they had them on the shelf.
Yes.
Yoink.
Oh, so you were the other guy that bought one.
Yeah. So I ended up with 3. So I bought one straight away and modified and detailed it up and all that sort of stuff straight away. And I've got one that I'll wait for all the aftermarket to arrive. And I'll just compile the aftermarket and do one down the track with the new barrel with the muzzle brake and blah blah blah.
See, I reckon that the kit that you buy and then immediately start is the most satisfying kind of build.
Yep, absolutely.
100%. 100%.
Because you did it once with the Waffenträger, right?
Yes. I bought the Waffenträger.
And you often talk about how you did that. See, I reckon that those are the most satisfying builds.
The bench clearers. The one, whatever you got on the bench, you just go, no, I need to build this now. And they just get shoved to one side.
And for one thing, the Waffenträger was, for me, a clean build because I built it in the factory.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
So on a concrete floor.
Someone posted a photo on Facebook the other day. It was a high-up photo taken from a church or something, looking down into a street in Berlin. Waffenträger.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was the back end of an open Waffenträger.
Oh, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I don't know where the photo is now. Yeah. Tiger Tracks, I think the group was.
Ah.
Yeah, and there was a bloody Waffenträger in service, it being used.
Wow, that's it. That's amazing. Now, getting back to the Armour, one last thing we haven't really touched on, displaying your Armour.
Yes.
Do you put them on a diorama base, or do you recommend just on the shelf?
Yeah,
or a tank on a plank, as you stated.
Tank on a plank. Yeah. All of the above. All of the above. So I've got a cabinet at home, so I can display things in the cabinet, and then I've absolutely run out of room in the cabinet.
I'm the same.
Yeah. So the top half of it is finished stuff, and then the first shelf and the bottom half is finished. Everything below that, and it's stacked like cheek to jowl, is unfinished stuff ready for paint. So, and then I've got another little cabinet as well. So some of them, like diorama, like the rail car dio, is on a diorama base. So sort of has to be on a dio base. The last couple I've done, the Panther G, the Meng new Panther G. I've done a specific tank that was knocked out in Belgium, and I've done it just before it was knocked out with the guys. It was knocked out by fighter bombers, actually.
All right, yep.
So I've got some excellent figures by a guy in Poland, of guys on the engine deck firing the machine gun up at something. So
very cool.
And it was knocked out on driving up a hill. So I've done a little diorama base, very basic, like a roadway, but just angled with a bit of that high density foam stuff that everyone uses. Just cut it out to match the top of my wooden base, and it angles up slightly, so it just captures that look of where it was knocked out, or just before it was knocked out.
Yeah, I was one with my Armour kits, which are not all that many kits. I think I might have maybe a dozen Armour kits I've built, but every one has a figure.
Yeah, brilliant. It just gives that scale.
With aircraft, I find with aircraft models, you just got to look inside the canopy. You can see the seat, and you got a good idea how big.
Exactly right.
But with a tank, it's a lot harder for the layman to figure out how big they are or
Could-
how
couldn't
small
agree
they
more.
are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless you have a figure with them.
It just adds a human element
Correct, yeah.
to it as well.
Yeah,
It
totally
just
agree.
makes a difference. And that's paint figures is a thing. I'm never happy with the figures I paint.
It's
I
all
always
a
feel
learning
like
curve.
there's room for
Yeah, there's
improvement.
always a learning curve.
Yeah, but then I've got tons of models as well that are just in the cabinet on their own. Because I always find if I'm photographing a model for a magazine or just even for the internet, not on a base. So I have a big white background that I photograph them on. It just looks better that way if there's no diorama base.
Yep.
So yeah, look, some of them are on a base, some of them are on a plank, and some of them are just on their tracks kind of thing. It just depends. So and because I weather everything with acrylics and I don't use pastels or pigments or whatever, you can pick them up.
Yeah.
And you don't get fingerprints unless you're just eating pizza.
Look, pigments look great. Pigments look great, but they wear off real quick.
Yeah, exactly.
No dramas. All right, so I think the only other thing we sort of really need to chat about, if you've got sort of any questions or about, you're just starting off doing Armour, by all means shoot us an email on thebench64@gmail.com or pose a question on our Facebook page and, one of us will jump on and answer it. The only other real sort of exciting thing I've got, I guess, to mention is the fact that for any of you who have perhaps been wanting to press the flesh with Mr. Sam Dwyer, he is in fact going to be at IPMS Nationals in Omaha.
You betcha.
Yep.
So we're all going to actually meet up there. So it's going to be kind of cool.
Bloody
Yeah.
great.
The Aussie contingent.
Just 2 years of no model comps.
Yeah.
And what a way to blow the dust off.
Plus,
Just
we'll add some culture to the
That's
event,
right.
won't we?
or we'll bring it down.
we'll raise the tone of the place.
I reckon we'd lower the tone.
So yeah, I'm bursting at the seams. Can't wait.
Oh, me too.
Can't
It's going to
wait.
be
So,
fantastic.
Yeah, it's going to be terrific. And look, fingers crossed. That there's no further complications in regards to
we'll be
the
fine.
C word. So,
Yeah.
So all of us have got our tickets booked now. So
Yep.
all the on the bench boys, Ian, Julie, and myself have purchased and booked our tickets,
Yep.
and
Awesome.
you're the same,
Yeah,
Sam.
locked in.
You're all locked in as well.
locked in, paid for, and
Yep.
ready to rock and roll. So
Terrific.
yeah, can't wait. And just I don't know, overseas model comps are always fun.
Yeah.
This will be
and-
my
and
first overseas model comp.
Same here.
It's just
Yeah,
meeting
yeah.
people. Like the comp is great, and any comp is great.
Yeah.
But it's the social aspect of stuff.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because we
Yep.
all do. We're in a dark room. Hunkered over a model desk, and people on the internet you might have spoken to for 5 or 10 years. So then to actually meet them in person
Exactly.
is so great.
Yeah.
So great. So that's really what I'm looking forward to the most is actually meeting people in the flesh.
Cool as.
So yeah,
We're gonna have some late nights, I think, in Omaha.
I reckon so.
Yes. And make sure we've got nicely padded wallets too.
My drama is I didn't score a room in the complex. So I'm across the road.
Oh, okay.
So I've got to somehow make it. I've got to watch my drinking. If I'm going to have a drink, adult beverages. To got to get across the freeway to the hotel across the road. Otherwise, you'll find me sleeping in a pot plant in the hotel foyer. It should be right.
Well, we're in the Marriott, so I think we're on the right side of the freeway.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah,
You're in
so
the main building, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I missed out unfortunately on rooms there. So
Oh, we're in pretty quick.
Yeah, Dave jumped on it
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
quickly.
Yeah.
yeah, I sort of was umming and ahhing about going and sort of talking to a girlfriend about it. I was like, yeah, let's go. Why not?
So we're actually going. We're hitting Hawaii first,
Yep.
then Omaha, then we're going on to Washington DC,
Brilliant.
and then home from that.
Yep.
You're heading to Denver first to catch up with.
John Bonani from
there you
the
go.
Plastic Pussy podcast.
Cool.
Yeah, which would be great. Hang out with John for a couple of days, and also Ivan as well.
Geez,
I
that'll be a
believe.
hardship.
It'd be awful.
Catching up with
He's a terrible person. and also Ivan as well from the Plastic Pussy podcast as well. He's flying in. So
He's flying in, is he?
yeah. So
Oh, wow, good on him.
So yeah, that's and we'll sort of drive then from.
That'd be a hell of a road trip, you three together.
Great. Oh, I love a road trip.
Sounds like a joke. The Aussie, the Pom, and the Yank.
Yeah. Or walk into a roadside diner. and then the show, and then I'm flying out to Hawaii for a week a week of Pearl Harbor and Fort DeRussy and Schofield Barracks Museum.
That's
and
what we're doing too. But we're doing it. You're doing it in reverse to us. Yeah.
If you get a chance, go to the Dole Pineapple Plantation and try the pineapple ice cream.
Been there, done that.
If you don't have diabetes now, you'll have it after that. It is
really?
You see, it's so sweet you can see through time.
Oh, wow.
after having it. But it's good stuff. Yeah, it's right there.
Yes, I'm also really looking forward to all the museums and so
absolutely.
forth. Like, especially when we get to Washington, going to the Air and Space Museum.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
Amazing.
I'm looking forward just to catching up with all the dudes over there. I mean, all the other podcast guys and everything, and all that
Air Command
listeners.
Museum.
Yeah. So
Finally get to see a B-36 in person.
1st of Feb, we can start booking for the SAC Museum.
Kentucky Dave, you listen to Kentucky Dave. He's got his finger on the button for us. He's going to book
got
for
him,
all of
yeah.
us. So
Yep. John
which will
looking
be
out
cool.
for me. So.
Yeah, because that'll be an awesome night.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Just
See,
nuts.
history shouldn't be seen on the other side of the velvet rope. So to be able to crawl all over these aircraft like a B-36 Peacemaker. Oh
Unbelievable.
My God.
Yep. Yeah. Just see him in person is nuts.
Yeah.
Well,
great.
the rope exists.
To keep people like you
It's
out.
merely a suggestion.
Not me.
The rope is merely a suggestion.
Yes.
Well, yeah, it's designed to keep the people who don't have any respect for these things.
It's the look.
from-
Yeah.
The look. There's a plane crowd to keep them on the other side of the rope.
Yeah.
Enthusiasts.
Enthusiasts like us should be exempt.
Yes.
Exactly. So it's going to be a really, really cool trip.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're going, I mean, when you messaged me, it must be about 3 months ago now, and said, hey, Goldie, I'm going as well. What's
Yeah.
that?
Well, I saw you in the group, and I'm like, oh, hang on a minute, you guys going as well?
Yeah.
What? That's awesome. Like, yeah. So it'll be great. I can't wait.
And
So,
to catch up with all our friends overseas is just going to be the added
Yeah.
bonus.
You'll get swabbed. You got listeners coming out of the woodwork to come
Oh,
and
will,
meet
yeah.
you guys
Yeah.
for sure. So
There's
it'll
a
be
fair
great.
few people.
Yeah.
So we'll have to make sure we bring some gifts.
Oh, some stickers or something.
Yeah, some stickers.
Some on the bench stickers. We'll get them
Yep.
made up.
You'll wear your t-shirts.
Absolutely.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. That
So-
way I can remember who I am. 'Cause look at Dave written on one, so I remember who I am.
You have to have it written upside down, so when you look down. I'm just going to make sure I wear a mask so I can go a little bit incognito, so you can just skulk around and look at stuff without being hassled. Not that no one's going to come and see me.
Speaking of all the other podcasts, if you're interested in listening, there's a whole heap of podcasts out there now. Just go to modelpodcast.com. And it gives a whole list of all the other podcasts that are available, and we really urge you to go and listen to the other podcasts. Got some great shows out there.
Some great people.
Good bunch of blokes.
Absolutely. And I think that's pretty much bringing us to the end of the show. This is going to be one of our longest shows, almost on record, 2 hours.
Sorry about
Plus.
that.
That's
It's
okay.
been a great episode. It's
been awesome.
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah. So good. We have to get you back on. So you're building aircraft now. You've got another reason to get you back.
I could talk to you. I could talk to you at length about RAF Super Hornets, and then RAF Classic Hornets, which are even better because they're more weathered than.
Well, to be fair, since this is an Australian podcast, we actually don't we haven't ever talked about just Australian subjects.
Not in detail.
particular. No.
Yeah.
We skim them, hit one here and there or whatever, but we've never really sort of sat down and done anything.
And we should do, because some interesting Australian Defence Forces purchased some recently some really interesting new armour. So we're upgrading our Abrams
A1s to A2s.
A1s to A2s. So we're getting a
Those
few
new
extras.
Rhine metal recovery
Oh right,
vehicles.
save it for the next
Yeah, but
episode.
I'm just teasing for the next
We've
episode.
got Boxer. We've just bought. So Boxer is the 8-wheeler. We've just bought the K9.
The Redback.
Huntsman.
The Huntsman.
The Huntsman.
Which is
the
a
artillery
self-propelled
piece.
artillery. Yep.
Brilliant, and probably get the Korean IFV infantry fighting vehicle.
That's the Redback.
Yeah, so probably get that, given they've gone with the artillery piece that runs the same chassis, potentially. So, yeah, fun times.
Yeah, absolutely.
F-35.
Yes. F-35 is...
It's almost like a grown-up military.
And and then there's, of course, Sylvester released just recently that wonderful C-130.
Yeah.
And so the
you can't talk to me about that because I'm like on the cusp of buying it. I'm like, someone's going to say something, I'm just going to run out and buy it. Like I just want to do an Aussie one. A mate in Canberra's done an Aussie one, and it turned out brilliant.
Yeah.
I was
Why
like,
not? Because Zvezda makes some of the most bang for buck models out there.
amazing. Yeah, great.
That
Great
you-
kits.
I don't know how they can make them that cheap when you consider the rest of the market.
Well, they're made in Russia, aren't they?
Ukraine.
Ukraine.
Which is about to be Russia again.
so you better hurry up and buy them now.
Too soon?
Too soon.
Well, They probably come out cheaper then because they're not forced labour.
Disciplined labour.
Dear God. Okay, I better step away. No, I better get you to step away from the microphone.
Yeah, shut up, Ian.
All right, thanks very much, guys. We'll be back next fortnight. We don't know what we're talking about yet, but we'll find something to lie about, and we'll definitely be around. So thanks for listening. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.